All right, welcome back, everybody. You're watching another episode of Funded Fridays. This is Trader Roundup, where highly tuned, like-minded traders come together to become 1% stronger each and every day. And I've got none other than Casper SMC today. How's it going, buddy?
What's going on, everybody? How you guys doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for hopping on with me, man. It's a real honor. I mean, we're gonna get together next week, an FX Summit, and this is a really good way to kind of talk to you a little bit. I don't really know a whole lot about your story. I've watched a couple of your YouTube videos, but for anybody that's tuned in that doesn't really know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself, how you got into trading, and how you got into funding
Sure.
specifically.
Yeah. Yeah. So initially, like the first time I ever messed around with any kind of investment vehicle was crypto way back in like 2014 or 2015, but I didn't hold it, unfortunately. But that was kind of like what got my feet wet into like buying an asset. You know what I mean? I was too young to buy stocks then. I'm only 26 now. But I then kind of hung out away from it for a while. And in 2016, I had a lot of friends that were deep in the crypto space for various reasons. And basically, they said, you need to get into crypto. So I just went and bought Bitcoin, ETH, and XRP and got lucky as fuck. There was no analysis, no know how. I mean, I barely knew how to like execute orders, but I did really well because I just held it, right? So then I lost a good bit of it towards the end, like I held it too long, but that opened my eyes up to like, this is something, right? And I've always been about trying to make money, right? That's like my, I mean, just how it goes. But so that kind of got me involved in that space, and I messed around occasionally buying stocks and trying to invest, but really never fully applied to it until later towards 2020, and that's where I really started to dedicate like basically my entire life. I became obsessed with it. I joined the Playbit Discord where I still am at now. I basically literally joined that and never looked back. Just gave it my all, gave it 100%. And next thing you know, I mean, really, it just kind of came together. Traded crypto throughout most of 2020 and 2021, and then when I started to realize that there was a little bit more out there, I started trading ICT, like studying ICT early 2021. So I started to shift from like harmonics to that, and then that realm showed me, okay, there's other, there's forex, there's indices, there's the stock market, and I started delving in there. And next thing you know, I heard about a funding firm, and I was like, wow, how the fuck have I not heard about this before? You know what I mean? How have I not heard about this? So then
We
at
all
that
went through that, man. We all
right,
like, yeah,
you know but at that point I had been trading for quite a while, so I was blessed. Like, I think that a lot of people that come into the space and that's the first impression they have, I think that can be viewed as a very great opportunity, but it can also be a great obstacle because I couldn't imagine going for those fun and challenges when I first started. But yeah, that's kind of my story. I then I got into the whole funded space, really revolutionized the way I trade and looked at this as a much bigger opportunity than I did before because if you can stack, I mean, you yourself obviously know the power of it. You've withdrawn a
yeah.
ton, so
Mhm.
if you can leverage that, that kind of motivation is what got me to really be focused like the way I am now. And I used to just stream for the Discord on YouTube, and then now it kind of blew the fuck up, and here I am. Here we are. Here we're on a podcast now, right?
No, yeah, I hear you, man. Like, I definitely like I built my audience up over the last 6 months. I feel like, but it was kind of just one. My trading nut interview kind of just put me on the map. Um, but so like I find it super interesting that you started out in crypto. Like, do you still trade crypto, or did that like bull run where maybe you didn't capitalize on so much? Like, did that leave a sour taste in your mouth? Or are you still trading crypto?
Oh no, we trade it. Yeah, we trade it all the time. I don't trade it as much as indices. Like, this ES and NQ are my babies, right? That's
Yeah,
90% of my time goes with that. But I trade forex sometimes and crypto, but it's just swing trades. So I'm using like 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute. I'm not really going under that for
yeah,
crypto. I mean, really, with crypto, I even trade with like the 4 hour and the daily sometimes and just buy equity. But yeah, that's the way that's my plan of attack for other
I
markets.
gotcha.
More of a
No,
path.
so that's interesting because I talk with Trader Main a good amount. I don't know if you
Oh
probably
yeah,
know who that
yeah.
is,
We
right?
just did a stream like a couple weeks ago together.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, I gotta hop on one of his streams, or maybe I'll bring him on here.
You should.
I
You
don't want
definitely should.
Yeah, yeah, but, like, I talk with him a good amount, and he just swing trades crypto because I think day trading crypto, maybe the volatility is not really there, liquidity is really not there, and the spreads are pretty high, right, with some of these firms, which is, I guess, something that he's trying to work towards and providing a solution for. But so you're pretty much just trading indices, crypto, right? So you know, I guess where do you see like crypto going? I mean, do you think you're just going to continue trading it? Like, do you think that there's going to be big regulations that are coming in? Um,
I'm sure there will be, but I think with crypto, one thing that being a part of multiple different cycles has taught me is that 90% of it is complete bullshit and hype, right? It's kind of like, there's the ICO boom of the 2016, 2017. Then there was NFT boom, and it's like people get sucked into these fads and don't realize that out of that space there might be, 5% of what comes out that actually holds. And I think that's the same with all crypto, right? Like,
mhm.
you look back at a lot of coins that we were trading back in 2020 and 2021, and
Oh,
those
I
coins
know,
are
man.
never going back. They're never going back.
I had Walton Chain, I had V Chain,
Yeah,
bro. I was
VeChain, that's exactly one that HNT. I have an
yeah,
HNT miner sitting somewhere. It doesn't even I bought like 10 of those things just and it was funny. It was like, dude, it was killing it. Now that's like it's like they're like a fucking it's a dollar coin now, but it's never going back. But a lot of people I
yeah.
think they get sucked into the fundamentals and
Yeah,
people.
that's the thing is, like, I wanted to ask you, like, do you I mean, everybody just says, "Do your due diligence," or whatever, but I find, like, a lot of some of those crypto projects, they could be faking a lot of, whatever they're doing as far as fundamentals, the team you don't
Yeah.
know if the team is real, you don't know if, what they're actually working on is legitimate. So, I mean, when you're trading crypto, you're pretty much just sticking to, like, Bitcoin and ETH. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I trade some alts. Like we took some Magic buys recently, like a while ago. They're already up. Don't anybody go full port them now. But I trade. I try to like for alts that I do. Like if I'm watching something, I want it to be in a space that is a little bit newer, like the Arbitrum ecosystem. Something that I'm not. I'm not gonna buy it. Like it's not like fun there's going to be some release in ARB, and I'm just going to start buying ARB altcoins. Not that, but it's just where I'm looking. Okay, where's the money flowing? Where's their activity? Because that's the whole essence of
yeah,
what we're trying to trade. Is smart money involvement or whatever, however you want to look at it. But I just look for that. Where I look and see a lot of manipulation. There's a reason to be manipulation as far as alts go, and then other than that, really just Bitcoin. I haven't traded ETH in a while, man. I mean, I'm not against it, but
they're pretty much correlated though, right?
yeah, I mean, lately it's been I haven't watched it as much as far I haven't watched ETH as much lately. Just because I think Bitcoin's like daily and the weekly is just such a clear picture. But yeah, they move together for sure.
So I guess what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned from that crypto bull run that maybe kind of got you to start looking into trading more so than investing?
Risk
Because
management.
yeah, because for me, I'm not really into the whole long term investing thing. I think it's kind of like a sham. I mean, especially because we're younger, like we missed the bull run. Like we're not. I don't know if we're ever going to see a bull run that someone like the boomers saw. Right? I mean, we're at
Yeah.
really inflated prices. Like inflation is, obviously they're trying to tackle inflation. And it doesn't seem like they're doing anything to it. Right? Like the price of living, cost of living is not going down at all. So, yeah, what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned? I mean, what kind of shifted you into more so short-term trading than staying away from long? Because you could still have risk management on a long-term
Right,
portfolio,
right.
right?
No, yeah. No, I mean mainly what it taught me was basically you don't have to catch these massive moves because before crypto futures, I didn't even understand what leverage trading really was. Like I knew what options were, but I wasn't really, I didn't understand the depth of it. And that if you understand how to, if you have precision, you can make a lot of money off of not risking that much, right? And that was the biggest lesson is it taught me how to be a little more versatile because crypto futures kind of taught me how to trade short term. And then once I learned how to really size positions efficiently, that was where I really started to see the business aspect of it. Because I've ran other businesses, you know what I mean, and
Mhm.
with trading before, it never really clicked for me like that until I started seeing, okay, I can go back and I have an average. You know what I mean? You can start doing the data, start doing the numbers, and it just taught me that there was something more than just buy and hold. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
as far as long term stuff goes, I definitely agree. I think that a lot of people misunderstand like passive income. Like they think they read like these books like rich like nothing against that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. People think they're gonna just like start investing, in the S&P 500, and then in a couple of years they're gonna like live off passive income. That's not how
Yeah.
it works. You know what I mean? People, that is a sham for sure. But I think with like crypto, the way I look at it, I would never like full port into it or just buy as much as I could or anything because it's going to change the world. But I do hold some crypto, you know what I mean? And I will,
Mhm.
continue to buy some, but it's more of just like it's not something I'm looking to get rich off of. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think that active income, the only real passive income in my opinion is learning how to build systems. You know what I mean? Like you can turn active income and pacify it kind of, you know what I mean? But you're still going to always is if you're trying to make a lot of money, it's going to take work. It's going to take activity,
Yeah,
so
I'm on the same. I'm in the same boat. So the thing is, there's a saying that says nobody ever really got rich saving,
yeah.
and that's to me, in my opinion, that's true. Like you could definitely um fund a retirement, right? But for me, I was like, why am I gonna lock up my money for 30 years that I can't touch it,
I wanna be
right?
rich
Why don't
now,
you
not when I
take
die.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you take that 10% that you're saving? I mean, this is not gonna work for everybody, right? Because some people have different risk tolerances, but in order for you to get ahead in life, you got to take some kind of risk. And I kind of noticed that in my career is like, even if you're just jumping ship and going to another job, that's a risk that you got to take in
Yeah,
order for growth, right? So, I never really bought into like saving for retirement. Like, if you want wealth and you want to be financially free, you got to take risks. You have to understand how to manage your money and how to scale that, right?
yeah,
And
100%
and
agree,
it's all
man.
about leverage too. So that's kind of something that I wanted to like talk to you about, like because prop firms, anybody that's successful in business, if you've ran another business before, right? It's all about how you can leverage your position or your capital the most efficient manner, right? And that's the reason why when you get into real estate, you're leveraging the bank's money. You're not leveraging your own money. So when you're trading prop, they're giving you a massive amount of leverage on very little, uh, very little risk to yourself and liability to yourself. Um, so kind of how did you I mean, I think we might have stumbled into the funding companies the same way. Like literally FTMO just popped up on my Facebook feed for whatever reason. I have no idea why, right? Um, like how did you first find a firm? Like did it just pop up on your feed someday and you're like, "Oh shit, look at this." Like
No, it was, I can't remember what it was. It was, like, in my early days of studying ICT and stuff, like, I got my hands on a mega folder a long time ago that had I mean, dude, I still have it. It's literally got everything you can ever think of. I swear, it's like
Mhm.
terabytes and terabytes. Not just I mean, it's got BTM, I mean, it's got everything, right? But, I can't remember which one. One of them said something about a funding firm, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And I looked it up, and I was just like, what? This has been around for this long? And I'm like, I've been sitting here trading for I was like, oh no. And then that was where I really started getting more into it, journaling. And I started going back because I'd been doing pretty well by that point with my own style. And I looked back and I was like, dude, you could have had this for a while. Like, what are you doing? So I kind of got mentally prepared. I didn't even tell anybody I was taking it. Everybody in the Discord will know. I just took it. When I passed it, I was like, all right, what's up, guys? Like now I'm funded, but I just
Oh,
did it
so
in
you already had
silence.
your Discord running before you started doing
Yeah, I mean,
funding?
the Discord was running. I'm not the founder of it. I'm just a partner with it. But I
Okay.
joined it when it was already running. It had been running for years. It's been up since like 2020. But yeah, it was like 2022. I got funded in August of 2022. So I'd been 2 years. You know what I mean? Of
Yeah.
you know, but it's yeah, it just popped up like on a course thing. Some kind I can't remember what it was, but it's funny you asked that because I was actually talking to somebody about that. Like when I explain this to like people who don't trade, they're just like, "What? What do you
Yeah.
mean?" You know what I mean? They don't understand it. Like, how did you find that? And I was trying to remember. I was like, I don't know. But yeah, yeah. So you said you found it on just like an Instagram ad or something?
I think I saw it on Facebook and I was like, "Wow, this firm's been around for like 10 years already? Like, where have I been?" You know what I mean?
Right.
I've been struggling with my own personal capital trying to turn my 5K into $1 million, for the last 5 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean that the ability to, I guess, get funding and get leverage is huge. I mean, did you find that it kind of changed your trading style at all or
100%.
yeah.
100%. Like I became a little bit sorry, excuse me. Whenever I first traded, like my personal, I was a little bit more risky. You know what I mean? Like when
Mhm.
I was trading crypto futures, there would be times where I was risking 3%. In a trade, like I would risk more, and they were like wider stop swings and stuff like that. But then it started to really inspire me to get I mean, and you know this too. It's just when you take the technicals we use, right? You just scale them down. Like if you can do it on the 15-minute, the 1 hour, you could probably do it on the 1 minute. It'll take a little bit of a learning curve and understanding the different things, and you have the higher risk reward, a little bit lower win rate. But I started to look towards that. Not any of these hyper high RR stuff. I'm not one of those guys, but
Yeah.
I started to tone my risk down to 1%. And then even now, like on my live funded, I only trade 0.5% risk.
Yeah.
Like I just, it's no, that it's no brainer to me because, and that brings, this kind of bridges into another subject. Don't want to go too off topic, but a lot of people, I think when you get a funded account, the goal shouldn't be to just get rich off of that one account and just blast it to the moon. That's why so many people fail after their first, or they don't ever get their payout. They fail before their first payout. But it's just like once you get that funded account, like that's your nest egg, dude. You secured it. Don't fuck that up. And it's extremely hard. If you ask me, it is extremely hard to lose a funded account risking 0.5%. If you
Yeah.
lose a funded account like that, it can happen. I'm not saying it's impossible.
You gotta lose
Obviously,
20 in a row though, you know?
yeah,
Like
yeah, literally,
that's
it's like, "Fuck, man, how did," you might just wanna chill for a little bit if that's going on, you know?
I mean,
Um,
listen, like when the beginning of my career, yeah, I could go through periods where I was losing 20 in a row. But that's because I was over
right.
trading.
Yeah, at the beginning, but it's like I don't know, I guess, like, by the time that I ended up getting, I had been doing it a while, you know what I mean? Like, I had a lot of the psychology stuff, because one of the thankfully, Hunter, he's in my Discord. He's a good friend of mine. Super smart dude. But he recommended trading in the zone very early on to me when I was trading, like a I think he just put it in the Discord or something. But I read that book a long time ago, and I've reread it twice since then. But I think that there's so many traders who just completely skip trading psychology, and the funded psychology is even worse, right? Like no
Oh yeah.
pressure. Here's your dreams are right in front of you. No pressure though. Don't fuck up. So
Well, that's the
that's
thing
what
is
the
like people are
catalyst.
posting crazy withdrawals, like I mean, I put mine out there just so
Yeah.
completely transparent. Like I'm just a normal guy, right? Like
Right.
in my opinion, I'm not the best trader. Like I just know how to manage risk because that's the background I can. I mean, it wasn't the back. I didn't have that risk tolerance right away. Like I started working on. I mean, I don't know if you know this about me, but I was in high-end residential construction, and I started out with small projects. But as the projects increasingly got bigger and bigger, I just got more comfortable with bigger numbers. So I was actually buying out packages for these clients, and some of the packages, it was like a lumber package, right? And I was spending 500K on this lumber package, but the next bidder below that was like 75K or 100K, and it was the same. It was for the same house, right? So one guy was giving me a price for 500K, the other guy's giving me a price for 400K, right? If I make a bad decision, I'm losing 100K,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's literally sometimes those decisions came within like an hour. Like I would talk to my boss about it, and we'd make that decision in an hour. So like me trying to manage, $2-3 million is like it's like child's play to me now. But I didn't start there. Like what was kind of your journey in getting used to this level of risk?
Yeah, I mean, I used to, I was in the like the legal weed game for a long time. That was like kind of my background. I used to live in California, so that was what got me a little bit more exposed into big numbers. And then also I had a trucking company. It ended up not working out, but I both of those are very high revenue businesses, and that was kind of like you said. Once you get used to just the overall, bigger numbers, everything just becomes a little bit turned down, and you're able to look at things or from a different perspective, right? Because like whenever you start, if you're looking at something like, oh, 25K, 50K is a lot of money, and in the grand scheme of things it's really not, and it really is just kind of like a perspective thing and like an identity thing. Like how do you look at money? How do you perceive business? How do you perceive, what is a frighteningly large amount of money, but yeah, so I think that is a huge advantage to come in and have some kind of business background where you have dealt with a lot of capital or a lot of
Mhm.
risk, either one. And also, I've kind of always just been a fuck it risk taker kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like when I literally turned 18 and moved, just like left, drove out of California, didn't even have a house, just to move out there. I've always just been kind of like go getter, fuck it,
Mhm.
let's go after it, and I've never been afraid to lose. But I think that translated heavily into trading too, and that's the biggest thing is people are afraid to lose, and they're like they more or less identify themselves, their value, so to speak, with their success on like a funded challenge or their success in a month of trading. And you have to understand that if you're out here and you're trying to live that life, like you want to live that lifestyle of hustling, getting money, whatever you want to call it, you're going to lose royally sometimes. You're going to get set back, and you got to embrace that and just be ready for it, and not care. Because once you are aware of that, and once you detach from that, boom, like you just broke the chains.
Mhm.
Now you can really spread your wings, and be in that unbiased environment for yourself. You're not going to look at everything like, oh, well, what if I lose? What if it doesn't work? You're not looking at that anymore. You're preparing for it with managing your risk, but you're not being driven by that. So
Yeah, so I mean, when you're saying like you're taking a risk to move out to California, to me that in my opinion is just like you're just getting outside your comfort zone.
yeah,
So, as far as trading, like did you ever hit periods, before you became successful where you were like, I guess, comfortable doing a certain strategy or whatever, and maybe you're just a little complacent, and then how did you like overcome those periods? Because for me, I'm always like hitting a peak, and then maybe I'll like draw down a little bit where I'm trying to learn something new, or maybe my trading is not going so well, and it's like a constant mental battle that's going on. So like, how do you put yourself in the mindset of I actually want to put myself outside of my comfort zone because that's the only way you're gonna grow, right? Like if you hit a comfort zone and you're just like, I mean, for me, for a long time, I was just comfortable just gambling. Basically, I was just gambling in the markets. So like that became a habit of mine. Was I was trying to just take this 5K. I'm risking like 250, $500. But to me, like it's not a lot of money, right? Like for me to save up that 5K in my job didn't take me a long time, but I was trying to risk more percentage wise. And like it's just a recipe for disaster, honestly, because like once you start going into deep drawdowns, like 20, 30%, you know how hard it is to recover that, right?
yeah, the recovery rate, that's a lot. The recovery rate's ridiculous at that point. You're having to gain 50% on your account to even get back to break even, and it's at that point it's kind of like, I mean, you're doing these impressive feats just to get to the back in the money at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Mhm,
no, for sure. So really for me, my first comfort zone that I got stuck in was crypto, turning from, because like I said, I got really involved in like leverage trading in 2020. It wasn't that hard, right? I mean,
mhm.
it wasn't necessarily like, just completely easy to get a good position and get a good stop and all that. But let's be honest, you know, if you put any of like, for any of the people that are listening to this that have traded since then, imagine like what you know now going back into that. Oh my God, money printer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
It's
that
just a
was a big.
one-sided market. It's just
Right, exactly, and it was from going from just, looking for buy entries and holding it, to actually, okay, now you're having to dissect the market, look at structure for what it is, get out of that bull only mentality, and start to become more of like an intraday or shorter term trader. You know what I mean? And that was my first learning curve, and first time I had to like really branch out from what I was used to. And then after that, it was really diving first head first into ICT and price action, because I didn't always trade that. I traded harmonics and used an algorithm. A lot of the guys will know what I'm talking about, but it was a whole different world, bro. Like, I mean, it worked. I won't sit here. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you there's no other profitable strategy than ICT.
yeah. Mhm.
It's just
I
bullshit.
don't do that either.
Now, obviously, I use it, so it's my favorite, right? It's what I like. But that was another thing, was I really started looking into it, and I'm a pretty objective guy, and I was able to see the value that, okay, this seems to be more precise than what you're doing. This actually has some sense behind it and the why, even though it can get a little bit conspiracy-esque, but it does make sense. So I started to really like, that was a big jump out of my comfort zone. I mean, when I say I went zombie mode studying that, bro, I mean, I went through the core content in like 2 months, taking
That's
handwritten
fast,
notes.
man.
Yeah, I mean, literally watching it for like 6, 7 hours a day. And I wasn't even like I was forcing myself to do it. I'm like that. Like, my girlfriend was talking about this with
And
me.
so were you working at the time when you were doing that? Because
No,
that's a lot of
I haven't
hours.
had a job since I was like 17.
Oh,
But
wow.
I've had businesses, but I haven't ever had a job since then. But I was working on other business. You know what I mean? But it was like, I had basically automated it. You know what I mean? I had people working for me. I had to oversee things. It was a lot of phones. Hey, what's up? Do this. Oh, okay. Da, da, da. You know what I mean? It wasn't like footwork. It wasn't a lot of,
Mhm.
um, you know, but I was blessed with that time. And, I've never been one to like, I can't sit, like, I can't just not be working on something. I couldn't imagine,
Mhm.
like, maybe if I was like, one day, whenever, stupid up, you're out in Dubai all the time, you're out here, that's a different thing. Maybe I won't be working all the time. But until I get to that point, even if I have automated one thing, that's the way I look at that, is like, okay, now I have more time to dedicate somewhere else. Now I have time to grow some other, water some other pot. So that was trading. And I used to just sit there and just, dude, I watched it. I posted a picture on Twitter recently. I had found one of my old notebooks. I found the part where the first episode where it's talking about the four different parts of or price delivery. I literally found the written out thing of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Like
I have
expansion,
all the notes.
consolidation,
Yeah,
distribution.
yeah. Like I drew it out, but I drew the market efficiency paradigm. I was looking,
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
dude, that's crazy because I didn't know shit then. I mean, I was like, okay, what's the Asian session, you know? But like I couldn't understand. I was like, what does it mean it consolidates? What does it mean the London session is Judas swing? What is this? But anyways, that was the biggest jump out of my comfort zone was hopping into a new style of trading. And even now, you know, I always tell people if you're profitable, um, you don't want to venture too far outside of your strategy because there's a learning curve. Like if you're profitable and you're funded, I think it's a slippery slope to try to like change things too much too rapidly. Now, changing frameworks, that's one thing. Taking things into account, that's one thing. But you know, I haven't really jumped out of the comfort zone for a while because what I'm doing is working. You know what I mean? That's really
Yeah, I
that
mean,
yeah.
for me, every time I try to like add something new, like, ICT's coming up with all these models and everybody's talking about, 90-minute cycles and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm just using core content concepts. Like I'm not even doing anything crazy. Like I'm trading the intra week profile. Like that's
Yeah.
literally, I think it's month 7, like the day
Mhm.
trading essentials. Like that's literally all I'm doing. I'm not, once you find something that works, there's no need to try and expand outside of that because now all of your attention is going towards something else and you're not focused on the model that actually works.
Mhm.
So for me, like ICT, the best thing about what ICT did was it put context and narrative into the charts for me because I didn't find any other educator that was actually doing that. Like I used to watch a lot of trading videos, when before trading was computerized, I used to try and think like I was in the pit. Like I heard people talking about how some of the pit traders used to just look at somebody across the pit, right? And they would see their facial expression, or they might not know that they're, new, and then him and all his buddies would just gang up and just run their stops out, right? Take the other side of the position and then take it the other direction. Like they did that without a computer in front of them. They would just look at the guy and be like, that guy's like, I guess fresh blood in the water. Like they would just be like, I'm gonna go take that guy's lunch money, basically.
Yeah.
So that like ICT kind of just put the market narrative in place for me. I mean, that what did you notice that too? Like, did you go through that period where like, all right, now I understand like who's getting trapped in the market, like what liquidity they're aiming for, and yeah, like was that like a gradual thing, or did you just hit like a turning point in your career where you're just like, all right, I get it now? Because for me, it was like a slow, gradual process. I didn't like get it overnight.
No, it definitely was more of a gradual process. Like the one of the first things that I did notice when I switched ICT, and the reason that I made a switch was this makes sense, right? Like you said, there's a narrative to it. But really uncovering that and learning to visualize that narrative takes a lot of time. And that is the biggest gap between people who like maybe start with ICT 2022 and they're just looking for okay, open liquidity rate, break a structure, I long, and it's just there's so much more to them. You know what I mean? And, like honestly, weekly profiles are probably one of the most valuable terms for or valuable concept for me as far as finding bias. Now, I
Yeah.
try to if I do swing trade. Remember, I was saying I swing trade.
Mhm.
That's usually me trying to catch the one shot. That's usually the way I like to, and it's like 2 to 3 day, 4 day swings. That's
Yeah,
how
that's
I like.
interesting you say that because that's how I trade basically.
Oh,
And people are
really? I
like,
didn't
"Oh,
know that. Yeah.
people are like, oh, you're a swing trader." I'm like, I mean, I guess like to me that's short term. Like,
Short
I-
term, yeah. I mean, ICT style, like swings in the option world. There's so many different terms that are viewed differently. Like swings in like the options world is just you're holding it overnight, or you know what I mean. That's all that means. But like a swing in ICT terms is like I think multiple like over a
Mhm.
week or something. Because there's day trading, or there's like scalping, day, short
Yeah,
term, swing, position.
I think
But
swing for him was like 2 to 3 weeks or something like that.
oh yeah, no. So yeah, I just
It was
my
like
brain
based on
is
like the 4 hour.
it's more swing trading to me is just like overnight. But I guess short term trading would be, and that the weekly profiles, man. Like last Friday, I put out something I said, watch the weekly open because it's like if you're in a bullish week and you've confirmed that you started to, get into the distribution cycle, you're gonna go to the weekly open. If I mean, either that or you're wrong.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So it's like that's the easiest draw on liquidity. That's like one of the
That's the
easiest.
thing is those weekly profiles, they just repeat all
Yep.
the time.
Yep.
ICT mentioned it. I can't remember. It might have been one on one of his weekly commentaries. He had some student, I think it was a female. She only traded on Fridays because she was only trading the TGIF profile. So like when it
Yeah.
rallies, it's just like a rubber band effect. When it gets too far away from the weekly open, at some point, right, that standard deviation it's just gonna snap back to the mean,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess if you had to give some advice to somebody that's like struggling with funded trading, like what would it be? Like I kind of want to know, like, did you find success in funded trading right away? Because I was blowing accounts before I found it.
I did actually. I know that sounds like, oh wow, no way, but like it was not because I had, I went through a period of really not finding success with
Yeah.
trading in general,
Well, you were trading
right?
for what 4 or 5 years, right before you even got into
I mean,
funding.
you could say that. I would say I had, technically yes, but had been like full time, like, that was like my main focus in life. It had been like, 2.5 years at that point.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But um if it wouldn't have been for that and I would have just get into funding, oh my God, I would have blown. That's why I can't imagine like getting into this now. Like you come into this space, what you're coming into is like the new version of ICT, and there's 30 prop firms. Oh, that's a recipe for disaster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's especially for because I know how I am. I'm about trying to make money, right? So if I see like these funding firms, all I gotta do is make 10%. I'm gonna hammer it out because, like you were saying earlier, it's not a big deal to me to lose a challenge, which is like that's a good thing if you know what you're doing, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because it
yeah.
takes the psychological edge
No,
off.
you're right because
You
it's
know?
going to build bad habits. If you don't know how to trade, like me and Casper have been trading, right? We were trading for at least a couple years before we even found a funded account. So if you don't have like a good foundation in place, it's just like straight up gambling because
Yes.
now you're building bad habits. You're really looking at the money side of it rather than the trading aspect. But I think, in my opinion, right now is the best time to learn how to become a trader if you can be patient and like let yourself grow organically. Like, don't just try and hop in. I mean, even if you weren't like trading fully, right, leverage trading fully since 2016, at least you were involved with markets, right? Like you got your ass handed to you a couple times
Yeah. Yeah.
already, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
so you kind of already understood, like, I have to protect the capital, right? Even that is just a complete different thing than what most people are used to right now, where, they have access to funding, they have access to all these educators, right, that are teaching really good content. Like when I first started trading, this content was not out there like that. Like
Dude,
YouTube was not like
100%.
that. You would just go on there and it would just be straight up meme videos and music videos, whatever. There wasn't people out there, teaching you trading concepts, teaching you risk management. It was just forum based. So like you couldn't, even me and you speaking together right now, right? I was not like this wasn't really a thing. Like since the pandemic, people are getting more and more comfortable talking virtually, right? So that's important too. Like you can reach out to somebody and get advice from them, and you might not even know who they are. Right? If you're just chatting with somebody in a chat room, you don't know if they're real or you don't know if they're real or fake or not, right? So like, did you have anybody that was helping you out along your journey, or were you kind of just like self study mostly?
So, as far as like, mainly self study as far as the actual journey, but I want to shout out Flyers from the Discord. He's just a member that's been in there forever, and he used to preach like about ICT a long time ago. Before it was like this dude's been on it for a minute, and he's the person that told me, or not really told me to do it. It's not like he was like, "Hey, look at this." It was more or less like I was like, "What is this exactly?" And I started looking to it, and he shared with me, the stuff, and I was like, "Okay." But then after that, I was on my own. You know what I mean? I didn't really have like a mentor except mainly the markets beating my ass and myself, and I didn't just like, okay, so I went from like trading harmonics and the algo to trading, not the algo. Everyone's probably like, oh, the algo. No, it was like a trading algorithm. But I went from that to trading ICT, but I gradually went into it. So like I had like a MetaTrader demo account that I would only try to trade the stuff I learned from ICT on, and I couldn't. I was like, dude, I was getting smacked around, but on my personal account, I was still just following the same strategy that had been working because I was trading with a decent amount of capital. I don't want to just like, okay, let's just dive into a new ideology. That's not smart. But then I started to like incorporate harmonics with order books. And by the way, That shit does work. I mean, I will tell you right now, that shit does, and there's a lot of people, like you were saying, the 90-minute cycles. There's a lot of Fibonacci stuff that's going on right now. This, I'm sure you've seen it, and that, that's what harmonics are. So it's, I know ICT says like the animal patterns, and they have, I don't trade them anymore, but I used to mix those with order blocks. But that was kind of like to answer the question. I've gone way off topic, but the mentor really was myself and like that demo account that I was testing on, and just watching stuff over and over again. Like people, and I talked about this in a video that I released recently. I think people, this is how I was looking at it. Like I needed to just finish all the videos, right? I need to finish all the mentorship. Okay, now what? And that's not it. You need to absorb the information. You
Yeah.
have to like watch it, write it, apply it, test it, watch it again,
That's the thing
go
is you gotta
back.
watch it again.
You
You have
have
to
to
yeah,
watch it again.
and you
Have to
and then
watch
you
it
have
again.
to apply it. Like, applying it is complete it's a completely different thing. Like,
Yeah, when I go back and watch stuff now, like sometimes I'll go back and just to kind of get a refresh on certain things. Like recently I've went a lot back, or went more into like the COT stuff and a lot of that other stuff. But the value that comes from that is everything's about perspective when it comes to consuming content or consuming information. Just imagine, the multitude of things that you could learn now from watching something like when you really didn't understand the framework, you didn't understand the narrative, you didn't understand why, right? But now you go back and watch it, you pull so much more out of it. You're like, because before you're watching, you're like, what did he just say? Like, what the fuck?
no, seriously, I did the same
Yeah.
thing. Like, I went through, took notes on everything, but until you actually see it happening real time, and then when you go back, you're gonna find gems that you probably didn't pick up on initially.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Like I went back and was watching some stuff on like COT and OI and everything. Back then it was just like abysmal to me, but now I'm using it. Like, you know what I mean? It's working very nice, and I'm back testing it, going back on like mainly higher time frames only. I mean, definitely with OI, of course, just daily. But yeah, man, there's so much value that you can gain once you have learned and once you understand the framework. Because really, what ICT comes down to, and what it boils down to, is the power of three.
Yep.
That is
That's
the
literally
basis of everything,
he
right?
says it all the time. He's like, "My whole entire career was me trying to find a fill, or how do I operate inside of a wick of a candle?"
Exactly.
He
That's the
said that
idea of
before.
smart money.
That's the
That's the
whole thing.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you learn that and you conceptualize that and take that and apply that to everything, right? Of everything you're looking at, whether it's, opening price of the day, opening prices of different sessions, opening prices of different hours, whatever you're looking at, if you can look at the market and identify where the market's likely to accumulate, where there's likely manipulation based on your bias, you've got it.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You know what I mean? And going back and watching things from a different lens, you start to see that concept repeating itself over and over and over again. And then you're able to add different confluences to it, able to learn how to visualize that in a different way. And it really is all about perception, because people, I know when I first got into price action, it was like break of structure, order block. That's
That's
fair value gap.
honestly, that's all you need though. Like,
Yeah, but I
I
mean, in the right context, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like I was just looking for, like one of those supply and demand courses, that the shit they be they be
yeah.
preaching. But yeah, man, I think it's very valuable to go back and watch certain things with a different perspective, with a more educated, informed perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess leading into this next question, since we're both profitable ICT traders, right? Once you hit a certain level, like, it becomes, I wouldn't say, I mean, I guess it is easy, but there's so much to learn at first, right? That a lot of people are probably stumbling over themselves. Like, what do you think is the biggest reason that people can't take ICT's concepts, even if they're trading for years? Because he said it himself. He said he has students from previous mentorships that just can't get it. Like, what do you think is the biggest issue that students or people that are out there trying to get funded, like, what are they failing at? Because I people tweet at me all the time. And they're like, I've been trying to get funded since like last year. I'm like,
Yeah.
why is it taking you so long? You know what I mean? Like, if you have a model, or maybe you already had built up bad habits, right? Because if they found funded challenges last year and they're trying to just swing it out of the park and just nail it, in my opinion, that's just them not being comfortable with the risk and not being comfortable with accepting losses, because you're going to have losses.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think it really just comes down to like the kind of person that person is, and it's not to say anything negative, but you have to really I won't sit here and say that some people just have it and some don't. I don't subscribe to that.
Mm-mm.
As far as now at that moment, that person might not be there, right? But that's not like you were born with it and you're just not one of, I don't believe that. What I do believe is that a lot of people's relationship to, money, chasing, ambitions, whatever you want to call it, hustling, you're people aren't mentally there and they're not disciplined. They're not doing everything the best they can. It's like the kind of people who just stare at the chart and they just are gambling. Like, I mean, like me and you probably think we used to gamble. There are people that are like fucking. I know you probably get messages like people that are literally just so anxiously and that embodies into everything. You have to learn how to be centered. If you're not out here like trying to be the best you can and everything, I'm not saying you have to run 50 miles a week, but if you know what I mean, like we're not saying you have to
Paladin.
be David Goggins. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? I mean, I try to run a lot too and stuff, but it's not like it's not that's not the people. I don't know how to I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Really, you got to just look at everything as an identity thing. If you're not being the best you can at everything, like if you're not controlling the foods you eat, if you're not controlling what you're doing for your body to make yourself stronger, if you're not controlling what you're putting in your mind to make yourself grow mentally, and you're not putting yourself in that environment and making those decisions, life's made up of choices, small
Mhm.
choices, right? Every choice you make needs to have purpose. Every thought you think needs to have purpose. And the people that aren't doing that and then going to try to succeed at the hardest game ever played.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy,
Listen,
right?
those are the types of
You know?
people. Those are the same types of people that I encountered in my professional career that hit a ceiling, or they were just underperforming. They didn't realize that why they were underperforming, and they just fall into that rut where maybe they're talking to the wrong people, they have the wrong negative attitude, and like, how do you grow from that? So like, it's yeah, I guess it is like an identity thing, but I don't subscribe to the fact that you're born like that, because for
No, yeah,
me, I was terrible with money. Like my parents really were like, I came from, like, a very normal background. My mother was just a nurse, my dad just fixed printers. So, like, they never had, like, a lot of wealth. They were about the saving mindset. So, for me, I was just, like, I was known as, like, the black sheep. I was a big spender. So,
yeah,
I was literally impulse buying whatever I wanted. Like, I got that paycheck, I'm gonna go spend it and have some fun. So, like, I don't subscribe to the fact that, some people say, I mean, maybe I don't know what it is, but, like, I was never great with money, but I learned how to be better with money.
yeah,
I think you can adapt. Like, if as long as people have an open mind and they can adapt to something, like, that's the biggest thing, is if you're struggling with something, stop trying to force it so much. You gotta learn a little bit at a time. Like, you can't, what did I say? You can't, if you wanna eat an elephant, you just gotta take one bite at a time. And it's the
100%.
same thing with trading. There's so much you have to learn that people are just overlooking. Like, yeah, you can read risk management. Yeah, you can read about psychology. Yeah, you can read about ICT, but putting it all together is mastery, right? Like, it's a PhD level.
Yes.
This is a PhD level thing. So, like, I guess if you had to recommend, so like, I mean, this whole podcast segment is about fun and trading. So, people that are struggling out there, like, what do you recommend that they focus on first? Because they can't tackle everything all at once, and it seems like, I mean, the stats don't lie, right? Like 95% of people probably are just failing all the challenges. Like, what would you focus on first? Do you think it's technicals? Do you think it's risk management? Do you think it's psychology? Or how would
You
you
know,
tackle it if you had to start over?
that's a really good question, and I would say, like, I mean, I would say you need to work on psychology and technicals first, and you really have to figure out why you're getting into trading. Like, before anything, you need to figure out what is your goal, what is your purpose. Are you trying to get funded with $100,000? Are you trying to become, make $100,000? What are you doing? Are you trying to quit your job? Are you trying to what are you trying to do? Because once you have that, your brain has something to attach to and you have a purpose, right? And once you have a purpose, you're able to put purposeful action in play, and then you start looking at things differently. And I never really used to understand that, and people say, what is your purpose? I used to feel bad because I would be like, I want to get money.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a purpose, you know what I
I
mean?
want
Like,
the Lambo, I want the
yeah,
AMG, I want the
yeah.
Rolex.
But once I really realized, because I used to be like, damn, like, what are these people talking about? But that was when I was younger, and then I realized, okay, well, I have a daughter, I have a family I want to take care of. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That puts things in a different perspective because now you have something to assign that to. So if people don't have a purpose, I think they need to figure that out. And it doesn't have to be like some heroic thing. It can just be, something you're working towards, and really just ask yourself, um, sit down and write all of your goals out, and then write your standards out. right? If you have goals of being a funded trader, if you have goals of being profitable, but you can't even wake up at the same time every day, you don't hold yourself accountable. You don't have an open mind. You're not living at a high standard. You're not holding other people in your life at a high standard. You're not gonna go. What is the quote? You don't raise to your goals, you fall to your standards. I think something like that. And you need to you really have to raise your standards. You really need to elevate yourself in terms of what you are going to allow in your life of yourself, right? Are you unhappy with the way you look? Okay, start fucking running. Are you unhappy with the way you feel? Okay, go to the gym. um, do something, make an effort. And that is just builds into that identity of success, right?
Those are the hardest things to do, man, is like
Yeah.
trying to change poor habits.
Yeah, and that but doing that and learning how to build, like David Goggins says, like a calloused mind, right? I recommend anybody who hasn't listened to those books, listen to it, really, for
Mhm.
real. I mean, I get it, some of it's a little ridiculous. I'm not saying you have to go run with broken legs like he did, but learning that, having that mentality, like really just finding that dog in you almost, you know what I mean? That's what's going to be able to make you succeed, in my opinion. Because I look at it, if, like you said, this, we know the stats, right? Over 95% of people fail. So what the fuck are you doing to become 5% of 100% of people? You staring at a
Yeah.
chart and watching a video?
Mhm.
Good luck. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
every 95% of people are doing that too,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So you have to get out here. Like even myself, bro. I was at the beginning of this year, and I guess this is actually kind of where I came out of my comfort zone with some things, not like as much like just trading, but like I had gotten kind of comfortable, right? Like I was making good money. I got funded. I got fat, bro. I've lost 40 pounds this year. I was like,
Oh, wow.
fat. I was like not working out, and I used to be really in shape. And I realized I was just like, bro, like the fuck are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're making good money. What else, right? So then I started to look at it like, okay, what has got you to where you're at now? And it's just having that fucking dog in you. Like anybody that knows me in real life, they're just like, he's a psychopath, bro. Like he doesn't stop. He never stops working. My girl, she loves it but hates it. She loves it for, obvious reasons, but then hates it because like I literally don't let up. But
Mhm.
that's why, and I'm sure you're the same way. It's like, you have to have balance, but at the same time, you gotta be a fucking go getter, man. And that's
Yeah.
going back to the question. That's really what I think people need to develop that, while you're developing your technical analysis, because I firmly believe that analysis is the easy part. That is the easy part. And I'm not saying it's easy to those of you who hear that and are like, damn, I don't want you to feel like bad because it seems difficult. It's difficult to learn, but I can promise you that it is 100 times more difficult to become the version of yourself that can apply that analysis. You know,
That wow, facts.
you know what I
That's
mean? Like
huge, man.
that's yeah.
So, like, I know you bring up David Goggins. I found that book so interesting, and as a trader, for me, like anything I look at or encounter in real life or read a book about, it's like, all right, how can I apply this to trading? Like I'm obsessed with it. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yes.
maybe I think the reason why people get into trading is for the wrong reasons. Like, if you're not passionate about this, you're not going to realize like this is still a job, right? This is a job though that can provide you unlimited financial freedom and the ability to buy your time back. Because for me, I was like working my ass off, and I always kept seeing, you know, I mean, the risk that I took was me leaving behind a job, and I didn't even care like how much money I was going to make last year. Like it ended up being really good for me, but I would have been okay if I didn't make any money because I was taking that risk. I was like, I just can't stand being at this job anymore. My purpose was more so I need to get my time back because I lost both my parents at a pretty young age, like to cancer, and like that put into perspective, like we're not on this earth forever. I think people take that for granted a lot, and I think David Goggins' story is so powerful because he was going down that road where he was like extremely overweight. He was working a dead end job. He was like spraying cockroaches or whatever. And then he just had the like that paradigm shift where he was just like, what am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? And for some people that comes at different points, like you can't just say, I'm gonna change my life tomorrow. If you don't really have a great why, like you're gonna fall off and you're not gonna follow like a disciplined plan because you're losing sight of like the long-term vision and you're getting distracted by the short-term setbacks. Right. So like what other resources do you rely on or that shifted your perspective towards profitability?
You know, um, really, man, I think that for me, the business background was a big help. It really was. Also, just like I'm a very competitive person, and like if I don't have anybody to compete with, I'm gonna compete with myself. I really try not to compete with others in most things. Like trading is not one of those things you want to compete. Like, but like that was a big thing for myself. Like I looked at it like, I was brought up very like if you don't win, like yeah, it was like I played sports, I boxed. I had like if literally if I wasn't doing good, I would like not get in trouble, but get in trouble
Yeah,
almost. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So like my brain is
If you're not
conditioned.
first, you're last.
Yeah, literally, like literally, but like seriously, like if I didn't do good, like it'd be like, the fuck are you doing out there? Like what the fucking get your head in the game?
Mhm.
Like at like 6, 7 years old, like from all the way up. You know what I mean? But I like I look back and I'm like thankful for that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
because that
But did you
that
have other people holding you accountable, or that was, like, kinda like a self-accountability thing?
self accountability. And I mean, to be honest, well, yeah, more self accountability. Like, because I didn't really talk like, and this is something else I highly encourage people to do. Unless you have a really down ass partner or your friends or whoever, like, don't go out there and try to tell everybody that you're learning trading because
Yeah.
it's going to amplify the pain when it doesn't work because it's not going to work at first, and then
Yeah, no,
everybody's going
we
to say,
talked
"Oh,
about
I
this on the
told
last
you."
episode, like, ICT was actually, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago, Michael was actually in our group, in our chat, and he asked us, he was like, "If you had to go back, would you tell anybody that you were learning trading?" I
Yeah.
wouldn't,
No.
because I had those expectations, like, now I have to go full time in the next
Yep.
year and prove it to these people, you know?
Yep.
I mean, so, like, what is that like with, your partner or, people around you? Do you have, like, a really good support system? Because my wife was, like, always on board with me trading because I guess she saw the potential in it.
Yeah, my girl 100%. I remember like she was literally with me whenever I was watching the ICT core content. She's always supported 100%. She still supports to this day. So I'm very blessed and thank you to her. I doubt she'll be watching this, but yeah, no, I really like it, you know, that was a very big help. And then as far as like my parents go, I already went through the cycle. Like whenever I first like really started like putting myself out there, they were like, "You're a fucking idiot. What are you doing?" Da da da. And then I won. Then it was like, "Oh, okay, you're gonna start trading. You're gonna kill it." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But that was just
Now you're
because
just like, "You weren't with me shooting in the gym."
yeah, yeah, which I never took personally, but like, I will say that it was like cool to like, because I didn't really talk about it until like I don't talk about a lot of this stuff to my parents just because it's like, they
Yeah,
they
it's,
they
like,
just are
going
like,
way
what
over
they're
their
like,
head,
what are you
right?
doing now? Like, how what are you doing? They
Mhm.
don't even like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm trading this funded account. They're like, they don't even like I'll talk to my dad and he'll be like, what's that thing you're doing again? Like he doesn't even
The
understand what the hell
interesting
it
thing is
is.
when you talk to people about it, you could just see the wheels spinning in their head,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
My dad, he used to own like a wine distribution warehouse. Little backstory. We were well off when I was very young, but then they lost everything pretty much in
Oh, wow.
oh, what I mean? Like I was they went like bankrupt, moved, shit like that. It was like a very it went from like I mean we were well off really when I was very young. And then it went, downhill. And at that point, I think that made them a little bit more risk adverse, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it became and it was like I think that because of that they tried to like preach that a little bit to me, not to go out and put yourself out there like that
Yeah,
because
so, like, what kept you going? What you're just
dude,
like,
I don't
"Fuck
know,
it."
I've never it's never been a question for me, like I mean literally since I was a young ass kid it's never been a question for me what I want to do. And I want to be, just be the best I can be. I want to win. I have to be the best at what I'm doing. I'm going to take over what I'm doing. I'm going to be the best at it. I'm going to succeed at it. That's just been a no question, no fucking tolerance to myself. I will beat myself up if I'm not. I will go until I am. You know what I mean? And I'm happy for, and I think that comes a lot from like how I was like conditioned growing up with like sports and stuff, and just like that kind of shit sticks with you because I actually read a book recently because I'm a parent just talking about like psychology of kids and basically how you shape a kid's mind. And when you're at that age group, you're learning like between like 7 and 12, you're learning a lot of values, right? And my values were always like you have to be the fucking best, there's no room for excuses. You're never going to get anywhere if you're not doing this. And that is how I am now. It's funny, like my girl, she's like she calls me a fucking drill sergeant. Like she'll be like, because I was whenever I started this like weight loss thing, because I used to cut weight for boxing, so I knew what I had to do.
Oh,
It
yeah,
wasn't any question. I literally was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, putting a sauna suit on, running until I couldn't run anymore. I was like fasting, doing intermittent fasting, just did the carnivore diet out of nowhere. My girl was like, "Holy fuck!" Like, because she'd never seen that side of me as far as like that stuff. She'd see me hustle like with work, but then she was just like, "Damn, like you're a fucking psycho." But to me, I'm like, that's what I thrive off of. I love that shit, and that's
Dude, and then, yeah,
why.
for me too, like, I mean, David Goggins says, like, when you look in the what is the mirror test? If you look in the
Yeah,
mirror and you're not happy with who you are, you gotta start making changes, bro, you know what I mean? And that, like,
yeah,
that's gonna drive you. Nothing else is gonna drive you. Money's not gonna drive you. People around you not gonna drive you. Like, you gotta have the dog in you, right?
yeah, man, 100% agree, bro. You have to have that dog in you, and that's with trading. That's like going like I always tell people, if you think you came to play, the hardest game ever played, and you're gonna win
And you're just
by
half-assing it. Yeah.
bro, get the fuck out of here. Go home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This isn't for you. You know what I mean? Like this is a hustler's market, right? You have to be at your A game. And if you're not at your A game, that's okay, but you have to be elevating to your A game if you expect to even succeed at this. Because
Mhm.
and like you said earlier, this is going back to something I forgot about. You said you don't want to say it's easy now, but it is easy now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It is
but
it took a long time.
it took me
You
8
know,
years, 10
yeah, yeah,
plus
yeah.
years, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's
So,
not
like,
just easy to
you
get
gotta
to
just
it, but
be, I mean, the thing was, like, I was just okay with not making a dime for however long because I was like, "If I can retire at 35, who cares?" Like, I had
yeah.
coworkers and people don't really understand this, maybe because they see, a lot of young kids online or social media, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They see a lot of young people making a ton of money, and that's not the reality for the majority of people. Like, I had coworkers that were in their careers for 35, 40 years that were not even they were barely crossing 250K. Do you know what I mean? Or barely crossing
Yeah, I
200K.
mean,
It's not a normal thing for the average person. So,
no.
like, give yourself some time and stop trying to, like, force your way into success because it takes a long, long time, and you gotta just be patient with it. But if you stay consistent with it, right, like, you can cut that time period down. I think if I wasn't as consistent as probably I should have been, and I wasted a lot of time, but that was because I was, like, somewhat comfortable with where I was at in life, until I hit
Yeah.
that point until I hit that boiling point, and then I was just like, "All right, if I don't make a change now, like, I'm never gonna be able to do it."
No, I agree 100%, man. Like there's that shift, you know what I mean? And it's just whether it's with money, whether it's with, your personal life, whether it's with exercise, whatever it's with, you hit those boiling points. And those are what defines you, how you react to that. And you're going to go through a cycle. It's just like the markets, right? Like you're net even once, you crack the code and we're like saying it's easy. I don't want to make it sound like I don't want to give like a false
This is the
perception.
hardest way to make easy money.
Yeah, right. That's a good way to put it. But it's just like, there's always those cycles where you're gonna go through, you know, bear markets, and
Yeah, yeah.
you're gonna go to OT every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, on
but
some of my accounts, I'm in drawdown right now,
right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill myself over it. If I blow the challenges, I'll just buy some more, but that's because
It,
I'm in a position that I can do that. I'm not just taking my last paycheck and just going like, I'm clicking these buttons, I gotta make this happen tomorrow."
yes. And that's a powerful mindset, man. Like that's why because I have a lot of people that I could talk to like they go through because a lot of people do funding stuff and they don't ever say anything about it, which I think you probably should do that unless you have like an accountability partner or a mentor. But people would talk to me like just private, like, yo, man, I took this challenge, dude. I don't know what to do. I'm in like 2% down. I'm like, why does that matter? They're like, well, I don't want to lose the account. I was like, why don't you want to lose the account? If their answer was, well, I don't have the money for another account, I said, you fucked up. I
Yeah,
hope you win,
exactly.
but you
Yeah.
fucked up. Now, if their answer was, well, what do you like, dude? It's such. I'm like, okay, if I am in business, right, and I look at things, I'm like, okay, if I can put $1,000 towards something to potentially get something where I can net reasonably, $5 to $10,000 a month,
That's
right?
a
I
huge
look at that.
flip, man. I brought that
You know
up
what I
to
mean?
Angelo, huge flip.
Yeah, I
But
watched that actually. I watched that.
people are trying to take their $50 account and turn that shit into 10,000.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, if I look at it like that, I'm like, okay, let's just do the numbers. If I can buy a $200,000 account for around $1,000, depending on where you go, and then I say, okay, off that, if I'm able to net 3 to 5% a month, I'm making 6 to 10 grand a month, right? Okay, 3 to 5% a month. If you're, that's not that hard. Like, I mean, usually that's the way I trade. Like, if I'll trade my MFF, like I literally, if I get to a couple percent, I just quit because I'm focused on another challenge right now. I'm just like, all right, cool, waiting.
100%. I got like 4 live accounts right now that are just in payout. I have 2 weeks to go. I'm not even gonna touch them.
Yeah, and that's how trading should be. That's how because the trading is not meant to be I mean, it's active income, but it's not meant to like just be like
It's
watching the
built like a
charts.
casino. It's built like a casino. The longer you sit at the table, the
Yes.
bigger the risk is of the time exposure, you being in front of the charts. Um, they're gonna take your money at some point. It's just
Yes, 100%, man. 100%. And that's, if you can just get to that point and you look at it like, okay, if I take this challenge for a grand, unless you lose 5 of them, right? I mean, like, okay, this is a slippery stuff. For anyone that's listening to this, I'm not saying just go take challenges and fail them if you don't know what you're doing. If you're confident in what you know what you're doing, like you're very confident in your strategy, you've proven to yourself that you're profitable not only on a demo, you've proven that you can be profitable with a small live account, and you understand what it takes not only to analyze the charts but to apply that analysis, and you know that that's not the problem. Maybe you just had a bad week, maybe you just had whatever. But if you fail one or two challenges, you got to look at it like, okay, as long as you don't fail 5, then you're still in that window where you're able to get that account and get one payout and you make it all back. And that's where the business perspective comes in, because people look at trading like, and especially in ICT stuff, people
you got to
get,
win everything. We got to
yeah,
win every trade.
because it's like what we're doing. Oh, we're catching the wick. We're catching the manipulation. We're sniper, precision. And then I think what also comes with that is people become more fascinated in the concepts, or more fascinated in the analysis and the why and all these different things than they are in actually applying themselves to the money side of things and making money and understanding, how to turn this into a business, right? So it's the same thing, like people identify with their challenge, like, okay, if I lose a challenge, you failed, you're completely fucked, yada yada. Or the people that, damn, people are tagging me spy. I'm gonna be sick. I exited that position. I already know it. I already know. I'm not even gonna look. But oh, never mind. Yeah, that's the options. Anyways, but if you're not applying yourself in a way that is going to translate into running a profitable business off this, and you're identifying yourself with this challenge, like, oh, I failed, I'm a terrible trader, and it hurts you. It's kind of like the core concept of Mark Douglas, right? If you view the market as that it's uncertain, it takes away the possibility of pain, right? Because pain comes from something that from a belief. You believe that losing is bad because you've been conditioned that winning is the only way to make money. And it goes back to the same thing with challenges, right? Okay, you believe that failing this challenge is the end of the world. So when you go in and take that challenge, you're going to operate like that. You're going to be out there making stupid ass decisions. You're going to be afraid to execute on the winning trades. Then you're going to chase the losing trades. But that all comes from that perception of that challenge, and as if it's this holy grail, like that one challenge is everything you ever wanted, everything you worked for, your dreams are here. You know what I mean? But that's where, and another thing that does that is people buying a challenge with their last money. You've already lost in that,
Yeah,
in
I
my
mean, not
opinion.
only that, but people that are funded that lose the account never get a payout. To me, that's kind of nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
That's just greed. That's what that is. That's greed,
yeah.
because once, like we were saying earlier, once you get to that point, risk 0.5%, just just chill. You
Listen,
don't have
if
to
you
go
go down like
crazy.
2.5 to 5%, it's not like the end of the world. You can crawl back out of that. It's gonna take you some time.
Yeah,
Just don't lose the account.
yeah.
Because
Another
when
thing
you
people
lose the
do
account,
is,
now your mental capital is gonna take a huge hit, and you're like,
yes,
"I gotta sign up for another challenge tomorrow because I wasted all this time, and I gotta get it back tomorrow." And it's just like a vicious cycle.
yeah, it's a
So
death
I
cycle,
think
man.
people are not thinking about the logistics behind taking a challenge and managing risk. Because I get questioned all the time, "How much you risking on phase one? How much you risking on phase two?" It's rudimentary math, guys. Like, you got to understand the statistics behind your model. How many losing trades can you take in a row, and just split it that way? Like, divide up your risk. Just be comfortable with how many trades you're going to give yourself in this window, right? If it's 20 trading days, maybe you take one trade every single day. Take those 20 trading days, split it by your drawdown amount, and now you have how much you're supposed to be risking, right?
Yeah,
That's
and
not like
that's a good way to do
rocket
that. I like
science,
that.
bro.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Like, and that's another thing too. Like with the Top Step thing I've been doing recently, the challenge I'm doing, it's a whole different ballgame, right? Because it's not about 10% drawdown and 10% profit target. It's much less on both ends. So you have to, because people are like, oh, why aren't you risking 1%? And I'm like, you're not, okay. With a challenge,
Did you do the math?
yeah, it's like, we're looking at it like, okay, why do people risk 1% on a challenge? Okay, because they have 8 to 10 losses they can take. Maybe if your strategy is like a high RR strategy, and can't withstand, or it can withstand that many losses and still be profitable over time, you shouldn't even be risking 1%, right?
Mhm.
People think that 1% risk is just a flat thing on everything, as far as challenges. But you have to look at it like, okay, what's the downside? Like, because you're not playing with 150K, you're playing with 9K. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, you're playing with 4,500. 9K is a target with Top Step. So you're playing it. So it's like, okay, That's why I risk 300 to $450 a trade. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm not gonna risk $1,500 a trade. That'd be like risking 3% a trade on a fund
Yeah.
account. But, that's another big thing people do is just, that they can't, like you said, it's not rocket science. They don't put that time into really, like, analyzing things, and they just wanna move, move, move. They just wanna it's like, for example, like, whenever, like, I'll talk to some people, like, ask me questions, like, about like, they'll there was one guy recently messaged me, and it was just, like, a flurry of messages, bro, like, frantic as fuck, right? And I told him straight up, I was like, "Bro, you gotta calm the fuck down. I don't know what you're even asking right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, by the way that you're handling yourself, like, you need to work on, like, yourself. You need to calm the
Mhm.
fuck down before you because they're asking about analysis. They're like, let's not ask about if we are, above the Asia high at 3:35 a.m. and we're at the hitting the macro and there's a 1 minute break of structure and the bias is below, and I'm like, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
he's not realizing how much of an impact his mental is having on
Yeah, I'm like, that
his
shit's useless
actual.
to you. I could teach
Yeah.
you that it's useless to you. You'd never be able to use it because you're frantic. You're not
Mhm.
centered. You know what I mean? And I think that's a massive problem with a lot of people. Um,
Listen,
Man,
I go through those periods though too. I just catch myself before I blow up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just a robot. I'm not out here just operating like I'm just afraid of nothing and I'm God. I can just do whatever I want. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I still go through those periods where, like, maybe I get anxious. If that's the case, I'm just gonna be done trading for the day. Take a couple days off. It's
yeah,
not like the end
literally.
of the
That's
world,
the
bro. You know
power
what I
of doing
mean?
that. The power of stepping away, not only just for a day, because I know everybody. This is gonna hit people hard. Think about those days where maybe you were up some and then you lost it. Or maybe you were in a trade and it almost went on your TP and it reversed. Or maybe you just took a loss, but you're just at your desk and you're not happy, right? You are on a drug at that point.
Yeah.
As soon as as long as you're in front, your eyes are connected to trading you.
I'll
You are
bet.
on a drug.
Oh yeah, I'll bet you 9 times out of 10 that that person's gonna re-enter their trade once it gets stopped out.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like you're fiending. You know what I mean? So like at that point, people think that becoming a good trader is just like never feeling that. And that's not true. We are not
Mhm.
robots. Becoming a good trader is knowing when to remove yourself and
Yeah.
have rules and knowing when to be like, okay, all right, this isn't my fucking day. Like that happens to me sometimes. Like there was a day last week I took like two losses in the Discord, took two losses in one day. Not the end of the world, but like I was kind of irritated. I was aware of that. I was like, motherfucker, bro. And then and
Yeah,
well
yeah.
the thing was I got stopped and then it went right to the TP. I mean like I was the liquidity, right? So I was just like, oh, son of a fucking bitch. But I knew at that point, as soon as I felt that spike, I was like, I'm
No,
done.
yeah, and
I'm gone.
it's
I'm gonna go get
interesting
some
because
food.
we
I'm
were
gonna go
talking
do
about
something.
gambling earlier, right? And it is much like gambling. Like, I mean, I don't gamble a whole lot at the casino because it's like I'm risking like two a couple $1,000 on every trade that I take. But like you'll see the same types of personalities in the casino. Like I went to Atlantic City a couple months ago for one of my buddy's bachelor parties. This one dude just sat at the blackjack table and he just kept buying back in, buying back in, buying back. And you could
Dude.
see his emotions, dude. And he was just like, every time a bad beat would come out, a bad hand would come out, he'd just be like, "Oh fuck," and then he would just double down. You know what I mean? And
Bro, and it's
that's the
crazy.
same exact. You could see their thought process pretty much. I mean, like if you could just be aware of that and like spot that in somebody else, like you have to take yourself out of your body and realize when you're doing that, right?
Yeah, no, 100%, man. It's and like you said, you have to take yourself out of your body because when you're sitting there watching your buddy at the casino, it's so obvious, but to him, it's
Mhm.
not. And then, like, those days, like, where like, there's been times where, like, I'll make mistakes and I'll make, like, because I mean, I still make unnecessary mistakes. It happens, right? And
Yeah,
like,
me
usually,
too.
whenever I look back, I get up and I'm like, I go on, like, usually what I like to do is I go on a short run. Nothing crazy. Literally like a half mile, just something because there's something it does. And I live, my gym is literally like point 0.8 miles from me. So I'll run to the gym, get in the sauna. I get in the sauna all the time. That's like my
That's
shit. I
awesome.
don't know. But once I do that, or sometimes it's just like going and spending some time with my girl or my kid, you kind of come to clear. You're like, who the fuck? Who was that guy that was in that chair
Yeah.
being a dumbass like 20 minutes or 30 minutes ago? You know what I mean? And it's just become, but that skill and that awareness is the key. People think that destroying that feeling is the key, and that's just missing the mark. The key is understanding yourself and being aware of yourself and learning when to remove yourself from a situation, learning when you're not at your A game. And Jared Tendler's book talks about your A game a lot, and it's
I was actually just gonna bring that up because Rodrigo, he helped me like map my patterns. And it's really about like finding out that negative pattern that you're doing and just replacing it with something positive. Like you go to the gym, go to the sauna, work out, whatever, do whatever. That's like resetting yourself. So like replace that negative habit of you re-entering the trade after a loss and do something else because it's so easy to just go back in your screen, go back in the screen and just start clicking buttons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally, it's because you're fiending at that point. You're on a
Mhm.
drug at that point. If you are in that mindset, it's like there's that mental barrier where you break it, and you're sitting there with the power of your funded account in your hand. It's like the drunk dude with a gun. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah.
you know,
It's over, man. It's
yeah.
over.
Yeah, no, so for real, it's important to identify. And like I like that. Like I never really thought about it like that, but it is replacing with a positive habit. I
Mhm.
just I look at it as like doing something that's gonna like force my mind because it's funny. Like let's say if I'm working on projects, I try to differentiate the days that I'm trading from the days that I work on. For example, I closed a trade before we got on here
Mhm.
because if I hadn't closed that trade, I'm gonna be on my other tab. You're gonna see me like this
Yeah, I already got
every once
stopped
in a
out. I
while.
should have closed mine too.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm not pretty sure. I know that the stock market's fucking flying because
Is it?
the options are up like
I was long
400%.
in the pound and I got stopped out. I probably should have closed it before this interview happened, but
And that's just a rule of mine. Like, funny. I'm take one. Oh yeah, ES is. I said 4,300 today. It's almost there. That's sickening that I closed that. Anyways, but yeah, close that. We don't want to look at that anymore. No, no,
yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
Friday,
man.
man. Like I already hit my daily loss limit. I'm probably gonna find something to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the key is just getting away because like what I was getting like if I'm trading, for example, if I'm still trading, not like if I'm if I trade the morning session and I say, okay, I'm done after the morning session, then I'll be done after the morning session. Um, but like let's say if I'm like, oh, I'm gonna trade the morning and I'm also gonna work on this project over here on my other screen. Man, shut the fuck up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
you're not 100% into that. I mean, me at least. So I always have to like cycle in because like when I'm trading at my best or when I'm honed in. Like I'm not texting. I'm just
Oh
chilling.
yeah,
Like
me too.
bro, I watch the time frames. I'll tape read while I'm trading. I try to learn from it. I try to like be. I look at every trade as like a kind of like little like drill almost. You know what I mean? Like okay, how are you thinking here? Oh, here's where you were about to fuck up like you did the other time and close it early. Oh, here's where you're about to move your stop up too early. Here's where you're about to do this that. And I like being in that mode. But if I'm not like if I'm still in that mode, that's the mode I'm in. I'm not gonna be able to shift out of that until I kind of like refresh. It's like refreshing your screen. I got to refresh my mind. Whether that's getting away from the screen, running, getting away, and talking to my girl or talking to my daughter, um, getting in the sauna, meditating, reading. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's a flow state, right?
This thing's you can't see it. There's a This is like my other baby right here.
Oh,
The
nice.
the massage chair.
Did you get
That
a
one's
you get a IV drip? You have a IV drip service come by come
no.
by or no?
Dude, I tried that shit in Vegas, like, once, and I tried
Is
it
it
in the
a scam?
Keys.
Is it
Bro,
a
I think so.
scam?
It's like $300, bro. For the Keys was like $300, and I was like, "Damn," like, I
Yeah.
just got, bro. But I mean, I was, like, dead, bro. We had
Yeah.
a good time, and it
There's
was about
other
to
things you could do to relax, right? Like, I know
I
you're into
guess.
cigars, right?
Yeah, I love cigars. IV drips, not as much. It's funny, my girl was making fun of me so hard because she's super wise to shit like that, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And she was like, "So you really think this is gonna work?" I was like, "I mean, shit, it's worth a try. It's only $300." She's like, "Okay." And then I sat there, and then I'm like still feeling like shit. We're about to get on a plane. She can tell I'm feeling like shit. She's like, "That work for $300?" I'm like, "Man, fuck that." Like,
No, that's funny, man. Because my wife is the same way. She has no filter, bro. So she's just like, and that's I feel like it's
you
even if
need
it's
that.
not like even if yeah, you need that. Even if it's not a girl, if you got somebody that and that's why I think the trading network is so powerful because you could meet somebody online and we're not afraid to tell you, bro, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't know you personally. I'm just gonna say, what are you doing? You're like messing up right now. Like, you got to get your shit in order.
Yeah,
Somebody else is not going to tell you they know you because they don't want to hurt your feelings and put that tension on your relationship, right? I mean, if you're in a serious relationship, right, like your girl might tell you that, right? But that's so important because if I didn't have that's the thing was like before I met my girl, my money spending habits were terrible. They were awful. And even before we got married, like I was dead broke. Like I gave her I don't know if you heard about some of the interviews I did. Like literally, I had like 7.5K in my account, blew like 30% of it in like a week, took the rest out and like invested in her engagement ring. And I was like almost done with trading, bro, at that point. But
that's
I
awesome.
like told her about that, and she was like, "Don't give up on it yet." And that was like years ago. But like, yeah, just have somebody around you that keeps you grounded and is gonna be 100% real with you. You don't want to have fake people around you that are just gonna I guess cater to your feelings, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. You gotta have, you got it. That's awesome though, man. I hadn't heard that, but that's awesome. And you have to
I
have
guess it's
that.
awesome and depressing at the same time because like
Yeah,
I
yeah. I mean, at that time, but now it's like,
don't
that.
recommend that to anybody.
Right, right. No, for sure. Like, and that's cool. That's awesome, man. That you guys have been together before, success, because that's a big thing. Like, um, it's a major thing to have somebody with you. Like, whether it's not just money in general, but in a hustle. Like, for example, like when I got with um the girl that I'm with now, I was like trying to figure out trading really hard. Like I had been profitable for a little bit. I was trying to make it shift to that. And I was also starting another business that ended up not working out. There's a lot of stuff that she saw that fucking painful ass journey. She saw like 16-hour days,
Mhm.
just and but she was there and stuck through it. And like you said, it's like it's super helpful to have that around you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, you need like
that's
a ride.
why,
You need a ride or die, man. Because
yeah.
literally, she looks at me like I'm crazy, but now she's doing the ice bath with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. See, my girl,
Like,
she runs and shit, dude. My girl is like getting up there. Like I'm faster, but my girlfriend's like literally she's 5 foot tall, bro. I'm like
mhm.
6'2", so of course I'm gonna be faster. But
Yeah, yeah,
she'll run the distance, bro. She works out super solid. She she's just like, she looks at it like, at first she was like, "You're crazy," because I was getting up at like literally like 4:30 in the morning, bro. And I'm in Tennessee, so it was like 30 degrees. I was out there running. She was like, "Fuck this," and then she started doing it. Well, she wouldn't. She did it sometimes in the morning. Usually she did it in the afternoon, but it's important to have somebody with you that sees that potential in you, because sometimes you're not going to see it.
yeah.
There's going to be those times, and then you need that refresher. You're like, damn, everybody else is like believing in you more than you are right now. And that
Yeah,
that
that's the thing is like I had a good trader buddy too that we kind of grew together, but he was the one that was always telling me like, "Yo, you're like doing this wrong, doing that wrong, and you got to change, right?" And just somebody that's gonna tell you straight how it is, right? Not how you want to hear it.
Yeah, no, you need that. You have to have that reality check, and sometimes it'll go the other opposite way, because like you were saying before, I'm kind of like the black sheep, like the like fuck it type. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like as far as like risk goes, like dude, I'll take some serious risk. I mean, I've put it all on the line, dude. I couldn't tell you how many times put it
Yeah.
all on the line to where it was like if that didn't work, I was fucked. But I also stand by. Now, okay, let me. Everyone's like full port, full margin. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about trading.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about my positions. I'm talking about life. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, man.
No,
Like
yeah, like putting all your eggs in one basket, right? Like I think it's so people I don't listen to people that say don't put all your eggs in one basket because I think the people that find success are the ones that are willing to risk it all
yeah, no,
to make it
100%, bro,
happen.
100%.
Because
And,
when
and
your
like
back's up against the wall, you're gonna fucking make it happen.
Yeah, no, exactly, bro. And I work under pressure, man. I work well under pressure for sure. But I mean, I try to keep myself in a mental pressure. It's funny because I'm super like, no matter how, like I remember going back to kind of what I was saying earlier about the way I was raised, like with like sports and stuff like that and that kind of thing. I was always told, like, literally, I remember being like literally like 6, 7 years old, being told like, no matter how good you did out there, you could have done better. Like, go find where you could have done better. And some people would say that's a toxic way to look at things. I don't agree with that. I
No, me neither.
think that like you could be soft about it and be like, "Oh, that's hurtful. Let's give everyone a fucking trophy." Fuck that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Fuck
So
that
you
shit.
think kids today are soft? Because I had this discussion. I think Austin Silver talks about this shit all the time. Like
Yeah.
the participation for trophies. I like listen.
Fuck that
I
shit.
wanted to go into the sport talk a little bit too because I was the captain of my soccer team. Like I was pretty good at track, and like I always felt like I could be better. Like
Yeah.
looking back at it, it was like, oh man, what was I doing? Like I was smoking weed in high school. Like I
Yep.
could have been working out a lot harder, doing whatever. Like what did you take from sports? I mean, the losing aspect of it is a huge thing because we always made it pretty far into like sectionals and like getting towards states or whatever, and we always ended up losing. Like, what were those lessons like, and how do you deal
Yeah.
with losing? Because as a competitive person, it's so hard to do that in trading. Maybe there's just like a disconnect where people just don't expect to lose, especially with like ICT's concepts out there. They're like, this guy's got like a 95% strike rate. You know what I mean? But listen, he's been trading for 35 years, bro. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right, exactly. No, yeah. I think really what the biggest thing that sports taught me was like dedication, because my okay, so I played like baseball and football growing up. Though I sucked at basketball. Fucking awful at basketball. Was not my thing. I never played soccer. Um but like I was decent at football. I was really good at baseball. But then I started boxing when I was 7, and that was what took over everything. Like that was became because combat sports, I think that they're really good for the mental part of things. As far as you're your only you're there's nobody to blame.
The solo thing.
Yeah, you're nobody to blame. So and also I whenever I started that, I didn't my dad put me in that and he was like, what is the what kind of programs do you have? Like I want him to like be competing. I want him to be, so they had like the junior Olympics team and it was like that's where a lot of kids that have been going there for a long time had done. And like that was like my dad was like, okay, well, what does he need to do to get into that? You know what I mean? Like he's really hard on that. So I was on like a diet, bro, when I was like 8, 9 years old, 10 years old. Like I wasn't eating like McDonald's, I wasn't eating fast food, I wasn't drinking soda, I wasn't eating candy, none of that shit. Like I was literally eating like meat, sweet potatoes. Like I was on and that's why it's kind of easy now. But it taught me all of that like fine tuning shit. Because what
Mhm.
other people look at like, oh, that's no way to live, that's crazy. I'm like, that is the way I live. That's why I want to live. And I think that mentality is one of the biggest, if not the biggest reasons that I was able to succeed in things. You know what I mean? It's especially in trading because like I was saying earlier, it comes back to that identity. Like, are you a fucking winner? Like, are you going to sit around and cry about shit? Are you going to say like I tweeted this other day, should be is a very dangerous mindset. Like, oh, this shouldn't be, this shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like I think it kind of speaks for itself, but that was what really translated from sports for me was that wholehearted like lifestyle savagery. You know what I mean? From because I was a young kid doing that, and boxing is like I used to go to the Boys and Girls Club when I was a kid, right? I would get picked up from the Boys and Girls Club by my boxing coach. The boxing coach was ran by the projects, like the housing authority, so it was in like the ghetto, right? Super
Mhm.
bad, whatever. But that was my life, bro. I went there after the Boys and Girls Club like 11 a.m. all summer after school. I went there 5 days a week, 4 hours, just hung out. We weren't training the whole time, but that was like that brotherhood of people that were all doing that because there were some really good fighters at Johnson City, Tennessee. But there was some really good fighters at the gym. It was called JCAC, and it's got at Beeson Hall. But they tore the thing down now. It's kind of sad. Anyways, they you know that that shaped me into that whole like
Yeah, I mean, because
godly
you're getting
whatever.
exposed to other people that are trying to change their life, right? Because I know a lot of
Yeah,
people that change their life through, fight sport, combat sports, and like boxing is a big thing, right? Because they're a lot of the time they're coming from poverty, right?
yeah,
And the gym is like their only escape. So like, what was that like being around people that had that drive, right? Like that's a huge thing is being around people that have the same drive as you, or
bro.
even
I'm still
Twitter
good
is a
friends with one of
Twitter
them
is
to this
crazy
day.
because you could see people that have crazy drive. Like shout out to Real Weird Gene, like that guy is a beast, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
You
he
know
is.
what I mean? Like nobody can tell him shit because he's got that work ethic, and like when you're operating at that such high level, you don't care what other people say about you. That's just straight up how it is. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
100%. And that loses, like when I was younger, I did. I cared about it. Like I wanted to be like the cool kid. I did when I was like way younger. But that's such a like as soon as like you said, as soon as you are operating at that level, you don't give a fuck about that. Like
Yeah,
you not care. It
exactly.
doesn't phase you. But some of the
Well,
like going
that's the thing is like I mean, when you're trying to chase a goal, like yeah, you should flex the car that you want because you're the
Mhm.
one that fucking put yourself in position to get it, right? But don't do it for other people, right?
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. I don't see anything wrong with flexing, right? Like I don't. I used to be a little bit stupid with that and I try not to
Yeah,
do it.
like this guy's gonna show up to the FX Summit like BitBoy.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, that was funny as shit, right? Dude, it's so crazy, like the style. Like I just sold, I had a chain, right? Like that was like one of my first piece of jewelry. It's like a
Yeah,
bust down
I think I
Cuban.
saw the post.
Yeah, I could never wear that again now. I sold it because I'm like, that's just not me anymore. Like I'm not trying to be flashy like that. But I don't believe. I mean, like I'm trying to be flashy in a more subtle way, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
like plain Jane Rolly,
classy,
nice car.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Like the suit you sent in the chat. That
Yeah,
shit looks fire.
mhm.
That kind of
Yeah. If
stuff.
you need a
But
suit guy, I got some guy in the city, bro.
in Miami.
No, no, New York.
Oh, true, true. My girl, she does like social media management, and they have like this place here where I'm at, and it's dude, it's like these suits are fucking fire, man. You pick everything from like
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
lining, everything.
That was the process I went through, like, you pick the lapel, all the buttons, like, you get
Yep.
your name integrated, like, yeah, it's that to me, a big thing about confidence is just, like, looking good and feeling good, like, if you don't I guess if you're not self-conscious of, like, how you look, it's gonna affect your confidence in general.
Yes,
So, like,
100%.
I think flexing that Rolex or flexing that car, it puts you in a different mindset because you feel like you're the man, right? And then it just drives you even more, honestly. Like now that I have some of these things which I didn't have previously. Like I used to drive a Honda Accord that had like 350,000 miles on it. Only
Yeah.
the driver's side window was rolling down, no AC, no bumper. I was pulling up at work, to multi-million dollar homes in this beater.
Dude, yeah, that's crazy.
But like
I did the
now I'm
same,
like
bro.
now I feel like I'm the man because I'm driving a pretty nice car around. It's like I worked my ass off for this.
Yeah.
Like
Hey,
now
flex it.
nobody
You
tells
have
me
to. You have to
shit.
shine, bro. And it's not like you're doing it for the. Like you said, it's not for other people. Like that's why I think it's funny. People kind of. I think a lot of times people like look at things and they're like, there is a way where some people are obviously doing it for like whatever reasons.
Mm.
But most people don't realize. For one, a lot of people are doing it for branding. A business, part of your business. So that's how
Yep.
some people that the doing it for other people, which I'm not really big into that, but I understand it. For certain industries, not really ours, but for like people like you and me, it's just like you said. It's like, bro, we work fucking hard as shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy this.
They're conversation starters too, they are.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
no,
you
100.
network.
That was one thing I will say about the joy I used to have. Like when I was out in LA and stuff, it gets you in a lot of doors, and it's just funny, bro.
Mhm.
Like there would be times, like like I remember there was this restaurant. It's called like Bestia or something like that. It's a really nice restaurant in LA. There were times like where I went there and I wasn't wearing nice shit. Like I was dressed in dress code, and dude, it was like the same lady at the front. She would be a fucking asshole to me.
Yeah.
Then the next time I went, I was dressed super nice, super fucking
Yeah.
putting you a priority. It's
Yeah.
crazy how
They
that
treat you
works,
different, right?
Yeah, oh, 100%. Cars are a big thing too. Like if you ever, I'm not really a big club guy anymore. Who knows? We might end up going out in Miami. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm not really a big club guy. But like cars are a big thing at clubs. Like you pull up to the club, you're gonna have a different experience if you're driving a nice car than if you're not.
Yeah, if you get valeted, bro, they're gonna put your
Yeah,
car right up front.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I was actually telling my girl, I was like, I don't know if I'm. I mean, I'm not against going out to the club and shit, but I'm not. That's not my vibe that much anymore,
Nah,
man.
me
Like,
neither.
it's not. Like I'm like cigars. You know what I mean? Like I'm down with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cigars, sipping some
Yeah.
hair of the dog, some Pappy,
You're getting a little
chilling.
older, bro, you know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. That was like the thing with the chain too. I was like, I was telling my girl, I was like, fuck, I look like wearing this shit. I'm almost. I mean, I'm only 26. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
still, to me, I'm like, I'm closer to 30 than 20. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I'm like, I've
You get a
switched up.
nice gold chain, a nice plain gold chain,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a little bit of
Like
a flex.
I've switched up my whole closet, bro. Like literally, I still have so much old shit. Like when I look at like the shit, because I used to be like the whole like I got the Bape hoodies, I got the Bape
Yeah,
shirt,
yeah.
got the fucking Gucci print shit. I'm like that Fit Boy shit, bro. Like that was a joke. I was joking, but like I was like, motherfucker, you there
Yeah,
was a couple
yeah.
years ago, you would have
Yeah.
probably wore that shit. But
And
but
this is
now I'm
10K
more.
outfit right there.
Yeah, dude. Now I'm like summer walks. That's the only shoes I really wear. Summer walks and Air Forces, bro. It's literally all
Yeah.
I wear.
Just keep it
Um,
simple.
yeah, nice slacks. And it's another thing too, dude.
Honestly
It's part.
honestly, wealth because, like, I was in, like, a private high-end private golf community, and, like, honestly, wealth talks even if you're not flexing it, bro.
Oh,
Just the way
100%,
you
bro.
walk in the room,
Yeah,
you could tell that person has power, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
100%. And a lot of the times, the people that are flexing it super hard, they don't actually have it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if and I've seen that firsthand. Like there'd be people that especially LA is a big source of that. Miami is too.
Oh, yeah.
People out there, they like, you'll see everybody, and they're like, damn, this dude's like, he's got the bust down, he's got the nice ass car, bro. He's got
Mhm.
more money in illiquid assets than he has in fucking in all everything else. And
Yeah.
there was a time in my life where I used to be that guy, and I realized like, you're fucking stupid. But I snapped out of that pretty quickly because I think a
I
lot
mean,
of
there's
that
a
comes
balance, right? Because you do wanna own some assets because cash is losing value, year over
right.
year.
Good
But
assets though,
yeah,
good
you wanna
ones.
have good assets, right, exactly.
But like a Rolex, like right now I'm trying to get like either a Submariner or a Datejust and start to try to like there's Robbie in the Discord. This dude's a fucking baller, and he's a really big watch guy. Like dude has a beautiful watch collection. I mean, like really like nice shit, bro. And he understands like the investment aspect of it because
Mhm.
watches have outperformed indexes the last like year and a half or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Certain watches. I mean, I'm not. Don't quote me. I know that there is
But
a
I know the
set of
Rolex market
watches.
has always been stable.
Yeah, if you buy, like for example, I have AP, but it's the factory diamond one. Those don't go up
Mhm.
the same. They
Yeah,
do go
yeah.
up, but they don't go up the same as the factory Royal Oaks without diamonds. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
without diamond, which is interesting, right?
But they're factory diamonds. Now, if you
Yeah, yeah.
throw diamonds on a watch, you fucked yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's why you see all
Yeah.
these guys in LA. There's date just with for 7 grand, 8 grand that
Mhm.
have diamond dials and Roman numeral dials,
Sometimes
and
it's just too loud, people are
oh,
not
it's
trying
just
to,
childish, bro.
yeah, yeah.
I used to be that guy that's so bad, but I think another benefit to me, and I think if you ever come across a lot of money really fast, I think there's a danger of people getting into that. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
subscribing to that, but like or young, right? Because I did pretty well for myself when I was younger, and I used to be a fucking idiot, bro. Like I spend stupid money, do stupid shit, um, always just dumb.
Mhm.
But now I'm like so different. If I look at it like, damn, if I would have known now, I mean, this is how everybody probably is, but if I would have
That's
known
why I was
now,
talking about it earlier, is like, my spending habits are not as good as they are now, you know?
dude, like yeah, like
I
I look
still
at
like to spend
things.
money because I can't take it with me when I die, but there's a balance, definitely.
Experiences is what I like
Yeah.
vacations.
Mhm.
I'll spend some money on a nice dinner. I love going out to, but I don't like used to, bro. Such a bachelor, man. Like I would fucking go out to eat every meal almost. Like,
Yeah,
what are you
yeah, yeah,
doing, bro? It's just like,
yeah.
but that kind of stuff is the stupid. Like now it's like I cook at home. I don't really go out to the. I don't drink that much. I don't even drink. Like I'll get a bottle of some scotch. It'll last me a month or two
Yeah,
months
yeah.
even.
Same
I
here.
smoke some cigars.
Mhm.
And other than that, I work, bro. You know what I mean?
Moderation, you know what I mean? Moderation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I used to be like a partier dude and everything, but now that just doesn't mix with, you know, like if you're up like, 10, 50 minutes, 10 to 50, that part, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want at that
Yeah,
point. You know what
yeah.
I mean? But if you're not there yet, you shouldn't be out here in the club like buying bottle cuz I have a homie um he's doing really well right now. He's came across a hustle. He's making a lot of money. But dude, this dude is it's just funny cuz he's closer to my age, but he's reminding myself of myself a couple years ago in the sense that like the money's coming in like a motherfucker, right? So,
Yeah,
but
what if it
it's
stops? Yeah, what if it stops at some
but it's
point, right?
exactly it's going out like blowing like $40,000 at the fucking in a weekend type shit.
That's a
There's
down payment on a house, bro, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
bro, exactly, and but it's funny because like I know there was a time where you couldn't tell me that either. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I understand it, but it's just like some people just have to go through that
You
the
just
hard
gotta
way.
delay, I think the thing is, if you wanna protect your wealth and you wanna, grow it over time, you gotta delay gratification, you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. What's funny? A lot of people don't. I think they get the wrong vibe from. Do you ever watch like Alex Hormozy's stuff at all? Like, not like or his
No, I
has
don't think
yours, but
so.
okay, hear me out. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's the fucking TikTok guy, whatever." He was the one who really made short form content popular, right? So yes, there is a lot of dumb shit on there. But as far as his philosophy on delayed gratification, just a couple of things. He has a book. It's very interesting. Um, I was kind of like resistant to it because in my head I was like, "This is the TikTok guy," but he actually is extremely fucking smart and has a lot of insight on. So he said, so he had a lot of insight on delayed gratification and the way I look at it too. Like a lot of people hate on certain like there are some people who are just downright cringe, right? Like some content creators, there's things out there on the internet that are just awful. But I always try to look at it from more of an objective perspective and learn from them. Like even if I don't agree with them, you can't say these people are like dumb. Like for example, um, a lot of people like this is totally random. Like Lil Yachty, right? You listen to
Mhm.
his music, you're like, what the fuck is this? But or like Blueface or something. Now, obviously, I'm not saying like I like up to Blueface, but like when you look at it,
No,
there's
he's got a
things
brand though, you know what I mean?
exactly.
He's got Krishan, they're just like,
People think, "Oh, these guys are
you don't know
so."
what's going on, they might be just trolling just for the
They are
brand, you know what I
100%. I
mean?
believe that they are. I believe it's
Same
all a
thing with,
show.
like, the crypto girls that are on Twitter, right? They're just showing their
Yep.
ass, and then they're posting market analysis. You're like, "Alright, what's the point of this post?" You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Is
yeah.
this OnlyFans or am I trying to learn markets, right?
How do you
You
guys
know?
fall for that shit, bro? Like, I
Yeah,
just like, it kinda makes me like,
that's
I don't know,
cringy to
that
me,
shit
but
disgusts me, bro. Like,
they
I'm
have a
like, "Dude."
brand, you know what I mean? Those girls, I don't know if it's a girl, it might
No,
be a
not the girl. I'm
fat
talking about
dude
the
on the
guys who subscribe to it disgust me.
Oh,
The
yeah,
girls,
yeah.
I respect it, honestly. If a girl's doing that, I'm like, "You're hustling these motherfuckers." Like,
Yeah, exactly.
that's you're doing you. I'm talking about the
Mhm,
guys that like just like there's one that like tags me all the time. It'll like tag me and like a bunch of other people, and it's like obviously a fake account, right?
mhm.
Obviously, the girl's just posting like ass pics and everything, and people are literally commenting on it like, "What do I have to do to meet?" I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
dude, what the fuck?
simping.
Like, the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, you're a fucking yeah, that shit's crazy to me. But but when
People
you
are
look at all
gullible.
these, yeah, it's kind of sad. But when you look at all these different people who create their brands, like people think they're dumb. It's like no, like you're dumb for thinking that.
Yeah,
They're playing you. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's but it's interesting. Like psychology is really crazy. Like learning how like for example, like the reason that I got on that tangent was like Hormozy, like yeah, it's the TikTok guy, right? That dude created a whole wave of content. Like he created a whole basic an industry for sure from like that understanding of the way that that works and capitalizing off of it, I look at that as, okay, that dude's very intelligent.
Yeah.
And maybe
Well,
I don't
he found what worked, right, and scaled it, and that's the same thing with
exactly.
trading, that's the same thing with fund trading. You find what works
Exactly.
and just scale it infinitely, and then at some point, that becomes your strategy, your brand, right, and then why would you deviate from that, right? Like,
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith is a loudmouth on the radio. He's not gonna just all of a sudden just switch up his brain and start doing nice guy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's like conceptualizing is so important to, like, for example, like when you look back at like the Stoics, so to speak, right? I think that the biggest value, like when you really try to like put in like how do those teachings really impact, because I've recommended some books like meditations to a friend, and they read this, they're like, how the fuck am I supposed to use this? I'm like, you fail to understand how to conceptualize, because you can take teachings from other places, like you said, okay, that's, you know they figured out something that scaled, they hammered it down and took it to the moon. That's what you have to do
Mhm.
in trading with your trading strategy. But you can see how those concepts are the foundation for success. And the more you can infer from different walks of life, from different industries, from different people, even if you don't like what they're doing, even if you don't subscribe to what they're saying, even if you don't need the value that they're giving, whatever, you have to learn how to be able to learn from everything. And that
Yeah,
is what separates like really great minds from smart people. Like that's genius in my opinion.
mhm,
That's a form of genius. And that's something that, you have to be very objective to do that. And, being objective is extremely important in growing in any aspect, in my opinion. But I think that that's a thing you have to really do with ICT, because you can learn so much. Like, it goes back to very early in this conversation, we are talking about the narrative, like how valuable that is, just giving you the narrative. um you know like, going back and learning how to really conceptualize all the different concepts, even if you're not using them, like how I said, power of three is really the basis of all of ICT, of all of
mhm.
smart money concepts, whatever. The cycles of accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. If you can take that principle and apply that not only just to price action but to time, you can even apply it in a multitude of ways, right? But learning how to conceptualize is really what's going to separate people from reaching their full potential as far as like learning in the field of learning, than just, oh, I'm going to watch ICT, or I'm going to read a trading book and try to become the best trader. You know what I mean?
To me,
But
you gotta, like, just stick to a process and just, like, wholeheartedly just dive into that. Like, stick to the same process and don't try and reinvent the wheel all the time. Like, that was part of, like, before I had left my previous job, the one before that, right, they were running, like, a billion-dollar company, and they were changing their processes all the time, like, they're trying to reinvent the wheel. I was like, "Why don't you just stick to the same one and just implement tweaks and just make it a little bit better over time," right? Instead of just trying to start from scratch every single time they try to just break the system and just try and redo it. It's like they're just running in place at that point. And I find the same thing with trading. There's so much to learn out there that people are trying to take in so much information without even understanding a simple concept. Right?
yeah,
They're trying to understand order blocks, and then they're going to hop over to turtle soup and learn liquidity, and then they're going to try and hop over to fair value gaps. Listen, I just trade fair value gaps. I don't even like I use all the other things as like you know, it's parts of my narrative. Like I understand how they work, but I'm not trading them. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, no, 100%, exactly. And that you're taking those concepts and you're learning to derive what you need from them in order
Mm.
to actually apply it in your own way, but you're not applying that actual concept. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's like, that's just really, really how you have to be if you want to get to the top of your game. And it's like, I mean, that's everything too. Like, it's just, and it comes back to like whenever you asked what the biggest piece of advice would be to like somebody who's just starting, is just getting that mindset. Because once you're able to get your mindset correct, once you're able to do things like that, like you're able to derive what you need, conceptualize things, build a narrative, not only just from ICT, but just really like embody that like winning mentality. That's the foundation, because without that, everything else either A, won't work, or B, has a shelf life.
Yeah, no, totally. Hey, so we're already like an hour and 40 in. How much longer do you
Yeah,
have? I was gonna
I'm dude,
interlude and
honestly, I'm ready whenever I'm just chilling. So the only thing I have to do is at 1 as far as time
okay,
goes.
cool. We're gonna take a little quick short break. I'm gonna post like a little question, open up the chat, and then if you guys have questions, shoot them off in the chat, and when we come back, we can answer some of them.
Cool.
All right, brother. Give me 1 second. Be right back, guys. All right, guys, we're back. We got Kit on board, ICT
Oh, what's
concept
up?
himself.
What's
Yo,
good?
what's up? What's up? What's
What
up?
is up? So we got some questions in here. Oh, maybe Kit. Maybe Kit. Do you have any questions for Casper? I know you guys talk a good amount.
Dude, first off, I love having Casper on. I mean, he feels like family being on here. I'm not kidding you. It's
You
awesome.
guys kind of look
Yeah.
similar. Maybe he's your like long lost son or something.
Dude, you never know. I mean, I was definitely fucking before he was born. So just keeping it real.
Oh
Just keeping
Funny.
shit.
it real.
Oh
But
shit.
no, I mean, I actually kind of do feel the family vibe, man. I mean, Casper being like an ICT trader, being a funded trader, having like the personality he has online, just feels like peas and carrots. Feels great to have him on. I mean, him and I will talk on the phone, similar to like with you, Jay. It's like all of a sudden, it's like a chart breaks out. Be like,
Yeah.
so
All right,
yeah, I
let's
don't
hop
know
on
what's
Zoom.
going on. I don't know what's going on. Be like, boom. Be like, let's just get in front of a chart, bro. And then before you know it, it's like we're just a really quick Zoom, bro. Just me and you real quick.
No, I hear you.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's awesome to have you on. It's super cool. People ask him what part of Knoxville you live in, Johnson City. I mean, my question is, it's a Friday. We had like news. I mean, you're here. Um, I mean, there ain't nothing about the charts that you were excited about looking at today, was there?
Oh yeah, I
Or
longed.
were
I longed and I closed it right before we got on here.
Let me look.
Here,
that's
Let me look
awesome.
the pound.
yeah,
The
well, it would
pound
have
looked.
been
The pound looked like a great turtle soup setup, and I think I just got stopped out.
I should
Yeah.
have should have it's fine. I should have held a runner, but I the risk was too high to have a let's see, I sold, yeah, I could have, ooh, that's painful, because I was going to target 2.5 standard deviations of the NFP move, and it went there, like literally that was like the top, that was my target, but I closed it like, so I
On
closed,
NQ, yeah.
no, on ES I closed it, I mean that's not that bad, I mean
I'm in
10
a
No, it's
I'm
points
in
funny because
early.
when you told me you were closing your trade, that's where I should have closed my pound because it was up
Yeah,
like 25 pips and then
bro,
it
look,
turned
if
around
you
up.
look on my Twitter, I don't know if you have it in front of you, but I literally I closed like the I closed right before the down, like the big down move this morning, but it wouldn't have hit my actually no, it would have stopped me out at break even like on the fucking dot, and then I would have been,
I,
oh, that would have been sick. I'm glad I closed it actually.
I'm in full port short.
It looks like it
I'm
wants to
actually
turn down.
recording my short right now, but it is up 20 ticks with 15 contracts, and it's going exactly where I said it would go during my live stream. So,
Nice.
uh, not that it's a big deal, but it
I think
is
that
nice
breaker,
to.
that 5 minute breaker, is probably gonna get smacked.
Yeah,
Minimum, minimum.
I have us dropping around this time to like 70, 60 something. So I got a couple points drop just on this
Nice.
I took
retrace.
my L on the day. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean,
So we got some questions in here. Somebody was asking what name of the book was. I think we were talking about David Goggins. It's called
Uh, Not never finishes a second one, but it's something like
Can't Hurt Me.
Can't Hurt Me. That is, yeah,
Yep.
that's it.
I
Yeah,
love
that's the
David
one, man.
Goggins.
That's
Dude,
the
that book
one,
is
man.
amazing.
It really is, man. No, it
Um,
really, really is. Some other really good books. By Jocko Willink is Extreme Accountability. It's kind of
Yeah,
like David Goggins' rival. They kind of like, well, David Goggins never throws shade, but I feel like Jocko be
what was the
throwing
other one
shade.
that Jocko Willink has? I think Discipline Equals Freedom. That
I haven't
one's
read
like
that
just
one
like
actually.
it's honestly a very quick read. Like they're just very short snippets.
hmm
It's like a field guide almost. I would check it out. Yeah, it's good. It gets
I
you
like
pumped up.
um I like Atomic Habits too. I know it's kind of
that's a good book. That's a
like
real
a
good
cliche.
book.
Is that
Like everyone's read
James
it.
Clear?
Huh? Oh yeah, James
James
Clear.
Clear?
Yeah, and then it's kind of like what you're talking about, with, like as far as like money mindset. It's called The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. Super fucking solid book. It's kind of like
I'll
a
have to
lot of
check it
stuff.
out.
Like I feel like reading it, it's there's a lot of insight, but it's stuff you already know. It's one of those. It's kind of like the the obvious stuff it brings out that you already know, but it's like giving you that, you know, I don't know how
Yeah.
to explain it. You know what I mean? Like that extra extra reminder, I guess, so to speak.
I
Um,
like Richest Man in Babylon.
I've heard that's a really good book.
Yeah.
Outwitting the Devil's a good one. Of course, Think and Grow Rich. Those are the kind of the first improvement books. Another book that I've heard from a lot of people is a really good book. Surprisingly, is the what's it, the 50 cent, I can't remember what it's called, but it's 50 cents book.
Oh, okay.
I just ordered it. But yeah, it's supposed to be super good. Like, and I've heard it from so many different people that I was kind of like, okay, like I heard it. There was something I saw. I can't remember. Somebody posted it, and I was like, dude, okay. I read like the Gucci Mane book. That was more of just like an entertainment read for me. It
Yeah.
but
I
apparently,
have Raekwon's book. I mean, I've been meaning to read it.
I bet that's good. That's probably
Yeah. I think it's from staircase to stage or something.
yeah. And then there's no, I don't think it's ghost written, Pure Blood. I think it's they have an author for it. Like he didn't like write. It's like David Goggins' book. I mean,
It's a
he authored it, but yeah,
guaranteed
yeah.
ghostwriter.
I mean, I don't know. The way I look at it, like fuck,
It's a
50
strong
Cent.
claim, pure blood.
50 Cent is accomplished more than most people. You think about it, I mean, the dude came up from like selling crack, getting shot in the
Yeah,
face to 5 TV shows now that are all
crazy.
like massive.
So,
But
Hope was saying that developing the mental callus has been the toughest challenge. Honestly, so if you think about a callus, right, you gotta go through some pain periods to develop the callus. It's not that like I'm just gonna refer to like a callus that I develop like when I do pull-ups on a bar,
yep,
right? You're gonna rip a couple times before it actually turns into a callus. Like it's a soft spot. Like you don't get a callus the first day of you doing pull-ups. Like your hands are gonna be torn up. And that's the same thing with your mental capital, right? Like you're putting yourself in a really uncomfortable mental position is gonna create the callus, right?
agreed 100%. Like deadlifts, pull all that, all the good lifts are what builds those calluses too. But
Yeah.
they rip, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
that's how it gets stronger though. It's
Yeah.
like with anything, man. You know, it's
It's
just
hard.
yeah, it should be the toughest
Mm.
challenge if you're doing it right.
Rob asks, how many months of profitability and demo paper account would you say is needed before going live and attempting a challenge? I guess my question to you is how long have you been trading? Because
Yeah.
I think even like a 3 month, because ICT said he got lucky for how long? He said he got lucky for like 18 months or something.
Yeah, I think it was it's a long it was a long period of time.
Um, and like we were talking about with the 2020 crypto bull run, like I think I caught the 2018 crypto bull run the first time it hit 20K.
Yeah, like
Like
that's where I yeah,
everybody's a genius.
2017.
Everybody's a genius in a bull market, right? But when it turns bearish, you're like you're gonna give everything back.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like that was like when I first got into like buying. So I bought it in like 2016, but like way before it went up. And I bought like Bitcoin and ETH, and then towards like that bull run, I bought XRP. XRP I exited perfectly. Bitcoin and ETH, I fucking held.
Yeah,
I
that's
lost
funny
like
you say that.
a
Same
lot of
here.
it.
I think
Yeah,
I got
XRP was
XRP at
crazy,
like
bro.
I think I got it at like 15 cents before it
I
ran to
got it
like
at like
$3.
25, yeah, and then it went at
It
three
wasn't on a whole lot
dollars.
of money though. I think I had like $1,500 and I turned it to like 6K or something.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah,
then
no,
I tried to average into Bitcoin and gave it all back.
oh damn. Yeah, well, I degened into XRP and at like 10x, so I came up pretty nicely off of that. But it was so pure luck, man.
Yeah.
Pure fucking luck. I remember that was when Binance was like allowed. Like you could use Binance on you could use Binance
As
on
a US citizen.
yeah, just like on your phone, like it was
Yeah.
like normal. I mean, no VPN, nothing.
There's so many regulations with crypto. I was actually talking to Trader Man and you know, I think even Canada's like locking down crypto.
Canada's
It's
more
hard.
fucked up than America is.
The thing is, like, there was a study that said even during the biggest bull markets, right, 50% of the days are bearish. So, like,
Yeah.
if you can't leverage trade, then in my opinion, it's like I hate holding stuff long term, especially nowadays because everything is so uncertain. Like, they could rug pull anything. They'll rug pull the dollar on us. You know?
Yeah, no, I have like a very like I like having some swing, some long term stuff, but it's just like it's not like what I would ever want to do as my dominant vehicle of getting to some money. It's just I mean I will say I've recently really started trading options a lot, and I like trading options for like short term
Yeah,
trading.
dude.
Dude, options
Yeah.
are like and 0 days too, man. Like I bought some 423 calls yesterday morning, and they went fucking stupid. And those are like but again, those are like passive. It's short term trading. It's not like
Yeah.
buying and
Yeah.
holding, you know.
Yeah.
No. I love options, bro. I mean, options are where it's at. As an ICT trader, I think it is the like hidden skill that isn't talked about or really exploited by ICT traders just yet. I think there's just still such a young wave of newer traders that they don't
Yes, bro.
Or they're jaded by it, right? One of the two. Like they've either done it and they haven't done well with it,
Is that a
or
shot at me?
jaded. No.
Now, listen, if you guys can understand how a market works, right? Every market is like operating the same way.
Yeah, the options, the
Minus
trick
the Greeks,
is,
right? The Greeks are a little different. It makes
yeah,
it
and it's really just, to be honest, like, and I'm not like a master on it, you know what I mean? But like really the biggest thing is the theta, man. Just buying them at the right time, understanding, the IV, don't get crushed. Don't get theta burn, don't get IV crushed. And it's just other than that, it's really just figuring out where price, because they're easier, honestly, than like
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
trade futures. To
And
much
honestly, it's
easier.
just your position sizing, right?
Yeah, it's exact. Well, I mean, I usually only risk what I'm willing to. I don't use stops with options.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
like either
yeah.
that shit's expiring
Yeah.
worthless or I'm getting money. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
There's
pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's how you have
Yeah.
to treat every option.
Yeah.
Every
That's
time
how I
you
treat
go
every
in,
trade in general. It's like I'm gonna put this money in, I'm willing to lose all of it.
Yeah. No,
there,
yeah,
I
man.
mean, there's definite truth to that. And I think if Joe's asking any insider recommended education on how to go from futures to options. I would say start really, time and price is really, really a thing. So this idea of a CSD, or a change in the state of delivery, if you're looking at like a 1015 price leg or a 1030 price leg, and you think that there's going to be a change in the state of delivery based on the order flow, based on order blocks, based on market structure, whatever you're looking at, then if you see a 20-point move coming around the corner, then you could go with a zero OTE, wait for that change in the state of delivery. And if it's at 1030, Joe, you're a perfect, you've got a 10-4 model. So wherever that 4 o'clock price is, if it's still clean, hasn't been touched, you're at 10 or 1030, then you just buy the option price for that 4 a.m. Call or short, and that gives you your direction and where you're going to go. Similarly, 930, I look at where the 130 price is. So if I want to buy an option at open, there's a decent chance I'm going to go to a put or to a call based on the direction of the 130 price. So those are like
Your timing in options plays a big factor, because you want to make sure that the implied volatility is low right before it expands. Because that's how the option is priced, right? If the implied volatility goes up, right, is the value of the contract increasing?
You can get away sometimes. I mean, that's ideal. You could still get away with some high IV, because like usually there's gonna be like 0 days. Like my thing
Well,
with
yeah,
0
I
days.
guess that's the thing, is if you're trading a 0 day, right? Like it's you can go from high implied volatility even higher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like for example, like the best in my okay, so one of the best ways you would actually fucking kill options, because using the one shot, one kill is like, in my opinion, like that's okay. So, and I didn't even
That
look
is
at
it.
the,
Buy a weekly
yeah,
option.
yeah. Like, so for example, yesterday I bought 420. I could have done way better, to be honest, but I just targeted 423, right, on SPY. I did 423. They expired next Friday, right? Because I want to get out of those. Like today was the day I want to get out of them fully. Because I want to give them a week out, right? And I could have bought them a little closer. That's just avoiding getting theta burned. I could have, but they went up 400%, um, overnight. So, but it's just really like, okay, we're in a bullish weekly profile. I'm getting, I'm going to get in when the market is, like the weekly profile is reversing. You know what I mean? So like this Tuesday and Wednesdays, buy them for like next Friday or maybe next Wednesday. You know what I mean? But that's one really good strategy. Another one is just find the daily draw on liquidity, buying those bitches far as fuck out of the money, and
That's it.
yeah, that's the other way.
Full port, 100 contracts.
Yeah, no. Well, sometimes, dude, like the other day,
Yeah,
I
you get them
bought.
for like a cent, right?
Yeah, I did some SPY calls. Like they went from like they went like, I think, like, I can't remember. It was like 500 or 600%, but they were from 4 cents up to like 22 cents. But it was same day shit, and
Yeah.
it was just because they went, so far in the money, from so far out of the money, because and what Kit said is very important. Buying it, but it's a little different than like, okay, futures, you're gonna wait for like the confirmation of the change in state of delivery. Options, you gotta kind of like, you almost, I mean, I won't say you got to, but it's a lot better if
Like
you
jump the
can.
gun.
Yeah,
You're like,
you have to be
You're
very
a
confident.
reversal. Yeah, you're a reversal
yeah,
trader. You're basing it
yeah. You want to buy
on.
the option when it's cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they're
really
cheap as shit. When the market's
simple.
pissing, it's cheap if you're buying calls. You know what I mean? Like as soon as it starts
Yeah.
getting that break of structure, you just lost a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
potential.
Yeah, that and that's so true. That's so true.
Somebody
So
asked if I'm using that hack with Oanda.
Wait,
It's
what is
not a
it?
hack, you just change the setting
Wait, what
to
is it?
remove it says you remove the P&L from trading view.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a setting. It's under the trading. If let me just pull it up. If you go under your setting, your chart settings, and go to trading, under positions where it says profit and loss, you just change that to pips or percentage.
Ticks, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not hacking. I don't want to get
I'm a DGen, bro. I like seeing the dollars.
uh
I
oh
don't
yeah.
act off of it. I don't act off it either, but I don't know why. I don't know. I'm pretty good. That was like one of my big problems. Like once I started really understanding what I was doing, one of the bigger problems that I had was closing shit early. Like, okay, for today I closed the trade early, but I
Also,
was
that's
like, bro,
to
this is
me,
gonna
it's
go.
like a
But
fine line because sometimes I'll close early, right, and I regret it, and sometimes I close early and I'm like, ah, glad I closed early.
that's why it's
You
just
know?
important to be mechanical. Like for example, like my rules are okay. If I'm about to go get on a podcast, I'm gonna close my trade most likely. Because
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just that's just what I mean.
yeah.
Or like break evening stops. You need to have a mechanical way to do that because
I guess
when I
me being mechanical is more based on time.
mhm,
Like, it's more based on, it's not really based on, I guess so much so where I'm trying to get to a certain level because I've had trades come within, 10% of my take profit, and because the time element doesn't match up, like it'll completely reverse on me.
yes,
Right. So like my mechanism is if London close or however long I think the trade's going to run for, if I get long or short on a Tuesday, I'm okay holding it until Thursday. But once Thursday rolls around, I'm closing the trade. Like I don't care if it's going to run to my target on Friday. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, I guess being mechanical, there's different ways you can become mechanical. It's just how do you want to trade, really?
yeah, no, 100%, bro. Like another way to do that too with like the time, and this is kind of like old school ICT stuff. Do you ever use ATR for the week?
Hmm.
ATR for the week's a good that's a good like place to if you're holding like the one shot one kill, it's a good trim spot. Same thing with daily profiles too. Like ATR can be good. Can be a good trim point too. Like that kind of. It's not really as much time, I guess. It's just the average range, but yeah, that's another way to do that. But yeah, I mean, I 100% agree that it's a fine line between like you can, you know, and you can get on tilt like that too. Like, oh, I knew I should have closed that shit early, and then next time you close it early for no reason and it goes without you, and then now you're mad because you missed the profits and you start, going down that death spiral. But yeah, that was one of my big problems was not only closing too early, but stop breaking even my stops too early. Like when I started trading on the MFF account, I was so scared to lose. I didn't realize, and I had been trading for a while, but it was like the funded psychology was new to me. So I would like, there was one week, right? 3 different trading days that I caught the absolute bottom of the day or the top of the day on ES or NAS. I can't remember which, it was both of them. One trade was one of them, the other trade's the other. And they were all in the Discord too. And I caught them, got stopped at break even, and they all ran like massively full to TP. I would have had been up like 15K the first week I had the account, but got break even on everything.
Yeah.
That put me, I was like, dude, you're fucking fumbling the bag. Like, what is wrong with you? This is not like you.
Oh,
And then I realized it goes back to, okay, the fear of losing, right? Like, why do you care if, what I mean? And then I realized, okay, when, you're looking at it, you know, you're making those simple mistakes that you know better than to make because you got funded because you're now trying to treat this differently than you would. And like, that's not how you should do this. You should treat this how you've treated the other accounts you've been successful on. You're not going to just change it up. But thankfully I snapped out of it pretty quickly. You know what I mean?
The thing is, like, I'm a bit discretionary. Like the other week, I made like almost 60K, and if I didn't close out my trade like discretionarily, it would have just came back on me at break even. But then a couple weeks prior to that, right? Like I closed out a trade, it was like 40K. I had a huge month. Just
Yeah.
uh, I closed out a trade at 40K, and if I had just waited an hour, I would have made 100. So it was like there's a fine line between, I guess, me trying to milk the trade for as much as I can, and I guess me closing a trade when the market's dying a bit. Like when it's losing momentum and it's hitting a specific PD array. Like that discretion has saved me at times, but it's also hurt me at times. So
Yeah.
it's like a 50-50. I mean, I just look at it as like my strike rate, right? It's like a 50% strike rate. But if I'm getting paid out 1 to 3 on average, that doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. Yeah,
But at
100%.
times, yeah, it hurts. It's like, oh man, I should have just held the trade.
Yeah, like that happens to me quite a bit even now. But I know that my system works, and I know that like okay, you know, like you're most of the time, I mean, there are times where you catch the full move to the that's just so satisfying. Your TP was just like the sniper shot, headshot of the chart, and it just died from there, right? And you caught the whole move, and but it's like um a lot of times, when I have a successful trade, it'll run 2 to 3 hour. I take full profits, and it goes really far. And I may joke and be like, "Oh, Max Payne," but like genuinely, I don't care that much. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like used to. I would be fucking pissed. Like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, and you're sitting there calculating.
But
Oh,
I mean, that's
uh, uh, you
maybe
know,
because you're in a different financial position now.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely. I mean, I don't know, man. My relationship with money, like, because I've done really well for myself. I've also lost a lot, and then I went back to square one, and I got it again, and I went back to square one again, and I got it again after that. And the way that I look at money now is like I don't look at money as much of a. I won't say. Let me think how to say this. I don't assign it so much power
Hmm.
because I understand that with the proper mindset, with what I know, and with the attitude I have and with the mentality I have, I can get to money, right? Like if I were to go broke right now, I have no problem. It would take me some time, whatever. I would come back. I have no doubt in that, no zero doubt, right? Um, but the biggest elements are like or resources that I look at instead of money are like your time, your mental capital, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Those are more valuable because the money is really more dependent on those two things. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I've never like when I was trading, even in like the early stages when because I had the blessing of coming into trading when I was doing well already. Like I wasn't like I you know uh was broke as fuck and was trading. You know what I mean? Because I think that can make it take a little longer. You know what I mean? If you're just completely broke taking challenges and that's your last bit of money, you're at a disadvantage mentally. But I also there's times where I lost a lot of money from either business or just things in general or trading throughout that journey where it did get stressful, but it was never the money. It was more like the aspect of succeeding in it. That was what was the more thing. Like I just wanted to win at it. Like
You just
I
love the
cared
game, right?
yeah, I cared more about performing at my best and figuring it out. That was more what I cared about than even the money at first. As far as like on the downside, like obviously the motivation was to make money, but like if I fucked up or if I started making mistakes or not doing well, I cared more about that itself than like the money I lost in the process. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, so like every successful entrepreneur or business owner that I've ran into, right, they're not really afraid of going broke because they know how to make it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. And,
It's the
and that
same
that is a
process.
so important, bro. It's so important for be successful like we were saying earlier with the fun and challenges like we come into it and it's just like uh I don't care to lose. I do not care to lose, right? Because I know that I'm going to win at one part. You know what I mean? I know that it's not going to rely my whole success, like my success as a whole is not going to rely on this instance. It's not going
Just
to
that
rely on
one
this right now.
trade.
You know what I mean? It's just going
All or
to
nothing,
be
man.
yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. Everything is riding on this long.
Yeah. No, so I guess I have this question pulled up. The holistic strength asks how many fact of all the many factors, what was the one thing that made the biggest difference in you becoming profitable?
Not giving up and just staying dedicated, man, and not losing sight and not losing confidence, like because if you have confidence that like I'm going to succeed, so like I wholeheartedly believe that anything that I try to do I will succeed at, not immediately, not instantly, but if I want to do something, if I want to figure it out, and if I really dedicate myself, I think, and everybody's the same way, but most people don't think like that because you get into trading and you go through those boom and bust cycles and you give up or you have negative uh, emotions while you're on the come up and you're going through those normal downturns, and you're never going to get to profitability with that kind of mentality. You know what I mean? But if you're level headed, you're not just a gambler. You're very confident that like, hey, okay, I may be fucking up right now. I may not be profitable right now, but I will be profitable at some point if I do the right things and make the right decisions. Then that is going to be that's going to be the bridge that takes you there, because it's just a matter of time at that point. It's not a matter of what if, it's a matter of when.
It's funny because everybody repeats the same shit, but nobody follows it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. And
Like
it's like
everybody
those
says,
obvious
don't
things.
overtrade, don't, follow your strategy, follow your process, but nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
So
Nobody, it's like, it's kind of like that book I was talking about, the Millionaire Fastlane. There's so much stuff in there that is like, it's so obvious, right? It's like
yeah,
no shit, but you have to really get in touch with those concepts and be real and like dig deep into it, because yeah, it's obvious. But if it was really so obvious, like the overtrading
yeah,
is everyone's like, yeah, bro, like you can't, like, if you ask, like, there's like the guy who's started trading and is not making money, he's losing a bunch. But if he were to explain trading to someone else, he would explain it to them like, you can't gamble, you can't overtrade, you got to follow risk management. But then he gets in front of the screen and doesn't do it, and it's
yeah,
just that like that gap. But again, that's why I firmly believe in and one of my biggest things I talk about is like mindset, and that's what's gonna make you a winner. You
yeah,
can't, you might become a good analyst by zombieing on videos and trying to trade all day. You might become a great analyst, but I can promise you, you will not become the best trader you can without becoming the best at everything else. It's just not
mm.
gonna happen.
I tweeted a long time ago. I think it was there's a huge gap between theory and execution.
Yes.
You know.
And especially in this space, I think this space more than any other space, because
Oh yeah, everybody's
uh,
an expert in the space.
it's all fascinating. That's like a double-edged sword, because it can it can be very good in the sense that it gives you the narrative and it gives you the intrigue to learn it and it motivates you to learn it. But it's also dangerous in the fact and in the sense that like when you look at the way everything is delivered, everything's packaged, it's like fascinating, like, oh my god, like it's like almost like you've like figured out the Da Vinci Code. And that
Hmm.
is cool and that's good, but like people get sucked into that. Hey, hold on one second, baby. Okay, I'm gonna have to hop off here in just a second. But
No worries. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. It's been
but yeah, it's been a while. We had a great talk, man. But
yeah,
Yeah.
closing statement for me is really that with this space, with all of the amazing stuff that we have in front of us, you have to understand that you came here and the reason you started this was to make money. It was to trade. It was to learn how to execute and make a different life. And that is not going to come from marveling over theory and marveling over this, phenomena. Sure, that phenomena can make you rich, but like worry more about making money, worry more about learning how to have an applicable strategy than trying to uncover every different extraordinary discovery about this game, about ICT stuff, because you'll just, there's a difference between going the rabbit hole and using the rabbit hole to your success. Big difference. And I think most people are falling down that's like the same people who like every week there's a new concept, there's a new macro,
it's the
there's a
holy
new
grail
silver
chase.
bullet, there's a,
They're chasing the holy grail.
exactly. I talked about that in a video where it's just that is what I see more so than ever in this space. And it's something that a lot of people fall victim to, that if they don't break those chains of that mentality, then they are never going to make it to where they need to be.
No, that's a great closing statement, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate having you on, man. This has been the longest session we've had.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, we got to have you back on at some point, and maybe you could be like help me co-host, and but you could bring in one of your students because I know you got a couple of students, right?
Yeah, hell
So,
yeah.
we'll get together next week. We're gonna be in person. Maybe I don't know if you got any podcast plan. I know Riz is gonna be out there, but
Yeah.
wishing you all the best, buddy. It was great chatting with you. Everybody tuning in. If you haven't already, follow us, like us. Smash that like button. We'll be back. Hopefully, we'll be back. I don't know if I'm gonna be back for a couple weeks unless somebody else can run this because I'm gonna be in Miami for FX Summit, and then I'm going to London the weekend after for another trade conference. So I'm pretty
Oh
busy.
shit! You're going
Yeah,
to both, bro. You're gonna be
yeah.
busy.
I might
Hell
have to
yeah.
just buy a laptop and just stream
There
Get
you
that
go.
MacBook.
remotely.
There you go.
Blake is going to the summit. We'll see you there, buddy.
Hell yeah. Well, shit. Kit, it was nice talking to you. Jade, it was nice talking to you.
For sure, bro.
Next time I see you, we'll be puffing some cigars, sipping some whiskey.
Yeah,
So I'm
for
looking forward to
sure.
it, man.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Hope you
Cool.
guys have
Awesome.
an awesome weekend.
Have a good one.
Take care.
For
Don't
sure.
over leverage your accounts today.
Yeah, it's too
No
late for
love.
that. That
Full
was supposed to
port.
be before
Yeah,
NFP. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Hey, hold on. What's up, baby? Hold on. I'm on the camera. All right.
yeah.
I'll see you
All right,
guys.
guys.
Have a
I'll see you
great
guys
one.
later.
All right. See you. All right, bye everybody. We'll see you guys.
Later.